The white roses on the altar had started to wilt 2 hours ago. Gabrielle Washington stood perfectly still in her ivory wedding dress, her hands clutching the bouquet so tightly that her knuckles had gone pale. The church felt cavernous now, with most of the seats empty. She could hear every whisper, every shuffling foot, every pitying sigh that echoed through the space. "Maybe he's just stuck in traffic," someone had said at the 1-hour mark. "There must be an explanation," another voice had offered at 90 minutes. Now, at 2 hours and 43 minutes past the scheduled start time, no one was making excuses anymore. They were leaving. One by one, guests stood up, gathered their things and walked out. Some touched her shoulder as they passed. Others couldn't meet her eyes. Her cousin Tasha had cried and hugged her hard before her husband gently pulled her away. Gabrielle's mother had left after the first hour, too angry and humiliated to stay. Derek wasn't coming. The realization had settled over Gabrielle like a heavy blanket, suffocating and absolute. Derek Montgomery, the man she'd dated for 3 years, the man who'd proposed on a beach at sunset, the man who'd promised to love her forever, had left her standing at the altar in front of everyone she knew. Her phone had buzzed once an hour ago. She'd seen his name on the screen but couldn't bring herself to read the message. What could he possibly say that would make this better? The pastor, Reverend Williams, stood near the front pew, his expression a mixture of sympathy and discomfort. He'd performed hundreds of weddings in his 40 years of ministry, but this was something else entirely. He wanted to tell her to go home, to take off the dress, to stop torturing herself. But Gabrielle remained frozen in place, as if moving would make it all real. The afternoon sun streamed through the stained glass windows, casting colored shadows across the empty pews. Gabrielle stared at those shadows, watching them shift and change, anything to avoid looking at the reality around her. Her makeup, so carefully applied that morning, had long since been destroyed by tears. Her hair, professionally styled in elegant curls, had started to come loose from its pins. She'd spent 6 months planning this wedding. 6 months choosing flowers, tasting cakes, addressing invitations, arguing with vendors. 6 months dreaming about this day, imagining how perfect it would be. She'd pictured Derek's face when he saw her walking down the aisle. She'd rehearsed her vows 100 times, wanting every word to be perfect. She'd even practiced her new signature, Gabrielle Montgomery. What a fool she'd been. "Miss Washington." Reverend Williams approached slowly, like someone trying not to startle a wounded animal. "Perhaps it's time to go home. I can call someone to come get you." Gabrielle shook her head. She couldn't explain why she was still standing here, why she couldn't make her feet move toward the door. Maybe some part of her still hoped Derek would burst through those doors with a reasonable explanation. Maybe she was just too shocked to process what was happening. Or maybe she was punishing herself for being stupid enough to trust someone who could do this to her. "There are still a few people here," Reverend Williams said gently, gesturing toward the back of the church. Gabrielle turned slightly, following his gaze. In the very last row, almost hidden in the shadows, sat a man and a little girl. They hadn't moved during the entire ordeal. The man wore an expensive-looking dark blue suit, his posture straight and alert. The little girl, who couldn't have been more than 6 or 7, sat beside him in a green dress, her legs swinging slightly above the floor. Even from this distance, Gabrielle could see the child watching her with wide, curious eyes. Why were they still here? She didn't recognize them. They weren't on the guest list. The man seemed to sense her attention. He leaned down and whispered something to the little girl, who nodded solemnly. Then, to Gabrielle's surprise, he stood up and began walking down the aisle toward her. His footsteps echoed in the empty church, steady and purposeful. The little girl stayed in her seat, still watching with those enormous eyes. Gabrielle tensed, unsure what to expect. Was this Derek's lawyer coming to deliver some kind of formal breakup notice? A reporter who'd somehow heard about the failed wedding and wanted a statement? Her mind raced through increasingly unlikely scenarios as the man approached. He stopped a respectful distance away, his expression kind but serious. He had dark brown skin, neatly trimmed hair starting to gray at the temples, and eyes that looked like they'd seen their share of pain. There was something solid about him, something that suggested reliability and strength. "Miss Washington," he said, his voice low and even. "I know this is an incredibly difficult moment, and I apologize for intruding. My name is Nathan Pierce. I'm here because my daughter and I attended this church last month when we were new to the area, and Reverend Williams mentioned your wedding. We came today simply to witness what we thought would be a joyful occasion." Gabrielle stared at him, trying to process his words through the fog of her humiliation. They were strangers. They'd come to watch a wedding for people they didn't even know, and instead they'd witnessed her complete destruction. I should have left when it became clear what was happening, Nathan continued. But my daughter Lily, she insisted we stay. She said you looked like you needed someone to believe you deserved to be here. And she's right. You do deserve to be here. You deserve so much better than what happened today. The kindness in his voice cracked something inside Gabrielle. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks and she couldn't stop them. This stranger had stayed. This little girl she'd never met had wanted to stay. While everyone who supposedly loved her had walked out, unable to bear witnessing her shame, these two people had remained. Thank you, she whispered, her voice hoarse from crying. You didn't have to stay. Yes, we did, Nathan said simply. He glanced back at his daughter, who was now standing in the pew, her small hands gripping the wooden back of the seat in front of her. Lily knows what it's like to feel abandoned. Her mother died 2 years ago, and sometimes she still feels like people leave when things get hard. She wanted you to know that someone stayed. The words hit Gabrielle like a physical blow. This child, who'd lost her mother, had stayed to support a complete stranger. The pure, simple kindness of it was almost too much to bear. Reverend Williams cleared his throat softly. Mr. Pierce has made a very generous donation to the church in your honor, Miss Washington. He wanted to ensure that this day, despite its pain, would still result in something good. Gabrielle looked at Nathan in shock. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to, Nathan replied. Pain is a terrible thing to waste. If we can transform it into something that helps others, then maybe it serves a purpose. He paused, seeming to consider his next words carefully. Miss Washington, I know this is perhaps the worst possible time to discuss this, but I find myself in need of help, and I believe you might be exactly the person I'm looking for. Gabrielle blinked, confused. What could this wealthy stranger possibly need from her? Nathan continued, his tone measured and sincere. I'm a single father trying to raise my daughter while managing a demanding career. I've been searching for someone to help care for Lily, someone who would treat her with genuine kindness and patience. I've interviewed dozens of candidates, but none of them felt right. Watching you today, seeing your grace under impossible circumstances, seeing how you've conducted yourself with dignity despite everything, I believe you might be the person we need. You want me to be a nanny? Gabrielle asked, her voice barely above a whisper. A caregiver, Nathan corrected gently. Someone who would live in our home, spend time with Lily, help her with schoolwork, take her to activities. I would pay you very well, far more than market rate. You would have your own private suite, full access to everything in the house, and the freedom to make decisions about Lily's daily care. I travel frequently for work, and I need someone I can trust completely with the most important person in my life. Gabrielle's mind reeled. This man was offering her a job, a place to live, a purpose, all while she stood in her wedding dress at the altar where she'd been abandoned. It seemed absurd, impossible, like something out of a fever dream. Why? She asked. You don't know me. I could be anyone. Nathan smiled slightly, the first real expression she'd seen on his face. I'm an excellent judge of character. I've built a successful business by understanding people, by seeing who they really are beneath the surface. And what I see in you, Miss Washington, is strength, resilience, and a kind heart. Those are the exact qualities I want around my daughter. I don't have any experience with children, Gabrielle admitted, even as part of her desperately wanted to accept this lifeline he was offering. You don't need formal experience. You need compassion, patience, and the ability to show up every day with love. Based on what I've witnessed today, you have all of those qualities in abundance. You showed up today. You stood here with dignity. You didn't run or hide. That takes courage. Gabrielle looked down at her bouquet, the flowers crushed and wilting in her grip. An hour ago, she'd had a plan for her life. She was going to marry Derek, move into the apartment they'd picked out together, start a family in a few years. That future had evaporated like morning mist, leaving her with nothing. What did she have to go back to? The apartment she'd shared with Derek was already packed up, ready for their move after the honeymoon. Her job at the call center barely paid enough to cover rent on her own. Her mother had been so excited about the wedding that facing her now felt impossible. Gabrielle had no plan, no direction, no idea what came next. And here was this stranger, this kind man with sad eyes and a daughter who'd stayed when everyone else left, offering her a new beginning. What would you do if you stood in Gabrielle's shoes, your dreams shattered, your future uncertain? Would you have the courage to accept kindness from a stranger? Subscribe and comment below with your thoughts because this story is just beginning, and what happens next will surprise you. I'll do it, Gabrielle said, the words coming out stronger than she felt. I'll take the job. Nathan's expression softened with something that looked like relief. You don't want time to think about it? To consider your options? What options? Gabrielle asked, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. I have no home, no plan, and apparently no judgment when it comes to people. But your daughter stayed. You stayed. That has to mean something. So yes, I accept. Thank you. No, Nathan said quietly. Thank you. Lily needs someone exactly like you, and I think you might need us too. Sometimes the universe has a strange way of bringing people together when they need each other most. He gestured toward where Lily still stood, watching them with those wide, serious eyes. Would you like to meet her properly? Gabrielle nodded, lifting the heavy skirt of her wedding dress as she walked down from the altar. Each step felt like leaving something behind, something painful but also something that had been weighing her down. By the time she reached the last pew, she felt lighter than she had in hours. Lily Pierce was even tinier up close, with honey-brown skin, thick dark hair pulled back in 2 puffs, and eyes that seemed far too knowing for such a young child. She wore a bright green dress with white flowers on it, and white shoes that looked brand new. Hello, Gabrielle said softly, kneeling down so she was at eye level with the little girl. Your father tells me your name is Lily. That's a beautiful name. You're very pretty, Lily said in a small, clear voice. Even though you're sad. The simple honesty of it made Gabrielle smile, the first genuine smile she'd managed all day. Thank you, sweetheart. You're very pretty too. Are you going to come live with us? Lily asked, tilting her head slightly. Daddy said he was going to ask you. Yes, Gabrielle replied. If that's okay with you. Lily considered this seriously, then nodded. It's okay. I think you need us. And maybe we need you too. Out of the mouths of children, Gabrielle thought. This little girl had understood something profound, something that the adults in Gabrielle's life had missed completely. Sometimes people needed each other, and recognizing that need wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. Nathan placed a gentle hand on his daughter's shoulder. Miss Washington will need time to collect her things and prepare for the move. Should we plan on tomorrow? Tomorrow? Gabrielle repeated, startled by how quickly this was all happening. Unless you'd prefer to wait longer, Nathan said. But I have the sense that staying in your current situation won't be comfortable. If I'm overstepping, please tell me. He wasn't overstepping. He was absolutely right. The thought of going back to the apartment, of facing Derek if he bothered to show up, of enduring the pitying looks and awkward questions from neighbors who'd known about the wedding, it all felt impossible. Tomorrow is fine, Gabrielle agreed. Tomorrow is perfect. Reverend Williams, who'd been standing quietly nearby, spoke up. I'll help you out of your dress, dear, and call your friend Tasha to bring you some regular clothes. Then Mr. Pierce can drive you home when you're ready. An hour later, Gabrielle sat in the back of Nathan's black luxury car, wearing the jeans and sweater Tasha had brought, her wedding dress carefully boxed and placed in the trunk. Lily sat beside her, holding a small stuffed rabbit and humming softly to herself. Nathan drove in silence, respecting Gabrielle's need to process everything that had happened. As they pulled up to the apartment building, Gabrielle saw Derek's car in the parking lot. Her stomach clenched, but before panic could set in, Nathan spoke. Would you like me to come up with you? Or wait here while you pack? Would you? Gabrielle asked, hating how small her voice sounded. I don't want to face him alone. Of course, Nathan said immediately. He turned to look at his daughter. Lily, you stay here and keep the doors locked. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, Daddy, Lily said, still humming and playing with her rabbit. Nathan walked beside Gabrielle into the building, his presence solid and reassuring. When they reached the apartment door, Gabrielle's hands shook as she turned the key. Derek was inside, she could hear the television. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open. Derek looked up from the couch, his face registering shock when he saw her. He was still wearing his tuxedo pants and an undershirt, his jacket and tie discarded on the floor. He looked tired and guilty but not sorry enough. Gabby, he started, standing up. I can explain. No, Gabrielle cut him off, her voice steady. You can't. There is no explanation that makes this okay. You left me standing at the altar for almost 3 hours, Derek. 3 hours in front of everyone we know. I panicked, Derek said weakly. I wasn't ready and I didn't know how to tell you. So you decided to tell me by not showing up? Gabrielle felt anger rising in her chest, hot and clarifying. You couldn't have called me last week? Last month? Any time before I was standing in a church in a wedding dress? Derek's eyes slid to Nathan, who stood quietly near the door, his expression neutral but his posture protective. Who's this? This is Nathan Pierce, Gabrielle said. I'm going to work for him as a caregiver for his daughter. I'm packing my things and leaving tonight. Tonight? Derek looked panicked now. Gabby, wait. Can't we talk about this? Figure things out. No, Gabrielle said firmly. You made your choice today. Now I'm making mine. I'm leaving Derek. And I'm moving forward with my life. She walked past him into the bedroom, where her suitcases sat ready for a honeymoon that would never happen. It took only minutes to grab her essential items, her clothes, her laptop, her important documents. Everything else could wait or could stay. She didn't care anymore. Nathan helped carry her bags down to the car, never saying a word about Derek's pathetic attempts to apologize or convince her to stay. When they were back in the car, Lily reached over and patted Gabrielle's hand with her small one. It's okay, the little girl said softly. Tomorrow will be better. Gabrielle squeezed her hand gently, surprised to find that she actually believed it. Today had been the worst day of her life, but somehow, sitting in this car with these two people she barely knew, she felt the first tiny spark of hope. Maybe tomorrow would be better. Maybe this was the beginning of something good, something she never could have imagined. Maybe being rejected at the altar wasn't an ending at all. Maybe it was the start of the life she was actually meant to live. The Pierce estate sat behind tall iron gates in the most exclusive neighborhood Gabrielle had ever seen. As Nathan's car wound up the long driveway, she pressed her face closer to the window, taking in the manicured lawns, the flowering gardens, the fountain in the circular drive. The house itself was massive, a modern structure of glass and stone that looked like something from an architecture magazine. This is where you live? The question slipped out before Gabrielle could stop it. Nathan glanced at her in the rearview mirror, a slight smile playing at his lips. It's home. Too big for just the two of us, honestly, but my late wife fell in love with it. I couldn't bring myself to sell after she passed. Lily pressed her nose against the window beside Gabrielle. We have a pool and a garden and a library with 1,000 books. Maybe more. Daddy and I never finished counting. The car stopped in front of the main entrance, where warm light spilled from the windows onto the stone steps. Nathan got out first, then opened the door for Gabrielle and Lily. A woman in her 50s appeared in the doorway, her silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, wearing black pants and a crisp white shirt. Mr. Pierce, she said, her voice carrying a slight accent Gabrielle couldn't place. I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Plans changed, Helen, Nathan replied, reaching into the car for Gabrielle's bags. This is Gabrielle Washington. She'll be joining us as Lily's new caregiver, starting immediately. Could you please prepare the blue suite for her? Helen's eyebrows rose slightly, but her professional composure never cracked. Of course, sir. Welcome, Miss Washington. She looked at Lily with obvious affection. And how was the outing, little one? We went to a wedding that wasn't a wedding, Lily announced. The man didn't come, so the lady was very sad. But Daddy hired her, so now she'll live with us. Helen's eyes widened fractionally, flicking between Nathan and Gabrielle with barely concealed curiosity. I see. Well, how eventful. Shall I prepare some dinner? You must all be hungry. That would be wonderful, Nathan said. Thank you, Helen. Gabrielle followed them into the house, trying not to gawk at the soaring ceilings, the artwork on the walls, the gleaming hardwood floors. Everything was elegant and expensive, but somehow it didn't feel cold. There were signs of life everywhere. Lily's drawings hung on the refrigerator in the enormous kitchen, a sweater draped over a chair in the living room, books stacked on various side tables. People actually lived here. This wasn't just a showpiece. Helen led them up a wide staircase to the second floor, down a hallway lined with family photographs. Gabrielle caught glimpses of a beautiful woman with warm brown skin and a radiant smile in many of the pictures, always with Nathan and Lily, his late wife. The grief in this house was still fresh, still present in the careful way these images were displayed. The blue suite, Helen announced, opening a door near the end of the hall. It has its own bathroom, sitting area, and walk-in closet. There's a small refrigerator stocked with beverages and snacks. I refresh the linens twice a week, but if you need anything changed sooner, just let me know. Gabrielle stepped into the room and had to suppress a gasp. It was easily twice the size of the bedroom she'd shared with Derek, decorated in soft blues and creams, with a 4-poster bed, a comfortable-looking couch by the window, and a desk against one wall. The bathroom visible through an open door featured a soaking tub and a glass-enclosed shower. This is too much, Gabrielle whispered. I'm just a caregiver. I don't need all this. You're not just anything, Nathan said firmly, setting her bags down near the closet. You're someone we're trusting with our daughter. That makes you important to this family. Besides, you'll be living here full-time. You deserve a comfortable space of your own. Lily had followed them in and now stood in the middle of the room, looking around with approval. I like this room. It's happy. My room is down the hall, the one with the purple door. Will you come say goodnight to me later? Of course I will, Gabrielle promised, touched by the request. Good. Lily seemed satisfied with this arrangement. I'm going to tell Bunny about you. That's my rabbit. She held up the stuffed animal she'd been carrying. He likes to know about new people. She skipped out of the room, leaving Gabrielle alone with Nathan. An awkward silence fell, the reality of the situation finally catching up with them. This morning they'd been complete strangers. Now Gabrielle was moving into his house, agreeing to care for his daughter, accepting a level of trust that seemed almost reckless. Nathan seemed to sense her thoughts. I know this is happening very fast. If you need time to reconsider, I understand. What I'm offering you is more than just a job. It's essentially asking you to become part of our family, at least temporarily. That's a significant commitment. You're being very kind to me, Gabrielle said quietly. And I don't understand why. I appreciate it truly, but I need to know what you expect from me. What are the actual responsibilities? What are the rules? Nathan nodded, appreciating her directness. Fair questions. Let's sit down and I'll explain everything. They moved to the small sitting area by the window. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Nathan sat across from her, his posture relaxed but his expression serious. My primary concern is Lily's well-being, he began. She's been struggling since her mother died. She's quiet, withdrawn, doesn't make friends easily at school. She needs someone who can give her consistent attention and affection, someone who'll be there when she gets home, help with homework, listen to her problems, make her feel safe and loved. What about school? Gabrielle asked. Does she take a bus or? I have a driver who usually takes her and picks her up, but I'd like you to be the one waiting when she gets home. She takes piano lessons on Tuesdays, swimming on Thursdays. She's supposed to have playdate opportunities with classmates, but she usually refuses. Maybe with your encouragement she'll be more open to socializing. Gabrielle made mental notes of all this information. And what about when you're traveling? You mentioned you're often away for work. I try to limit trips to 3 or 4 days at a time, never more than twice a month. When I'm gone, you'll have full authority to make decisions about Lily's care. Helen manages the house, but she's not a caregiver. She's wonderful, been with us for 10 years, but her focus is on running the household efficiently. You'll be focused entirely on Lily. And you trust me with that? Gabrielle shook her head slightly. We met 4 hours ago. I'm an excellent judge of character, Nathan repeated what he'd said at the church. And my instincts are rarely wrong. You showed incredible strength today, Gabrielle. You stayed composed under circumstances that would have broken many people. That tells me you have resilience and dignity. Those are exactly the qualities I want around my daughter. What if I make mistakes? Gabrielle asked. What if I do something wrong? Then we'll figure it out together, Nathan said simply. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for someone who genuinely cares. I've interviewed dozens of professional nannies with impressive credentials, but none of them felt right. They were efficient and knowledgeable, but there was no warmth, no real connection. Lily needs connection more than she needs someone who knows the latest child development theories. A soft knock interrupted them. Helen appeared in the doorway. Dinner is ready whenever you'd like to come down. I've prepared Lily's favorite, chicken and rice, along with a salad and fresh bread. Thank you, Helen, Nathan said, standing. We'll be right there. After Helen left, Nathan turned back to Gabrielle. One more thing before we go downstairs. I want you to know that you can leave at any time. If this doesn't work out, if you're unhappy, if you decide this isn't what you want, just tell me. I'll help you find another position, give you references, make sure you land on your feet. You're not trapped here. The generosity of the offer nearly brought fresh tears to Gabrielle's eyes. After spending the day feeling utterly powerless, having someone offer her complete autonomy felt like being handed back her dignity. I appreciate that, she managed to say. More than you know. Good. Now let's eat. Helen's cooking is extraordinary, and I have a feeling you haven't eaten all day. He was right. Gabrielle had been too nervous to eat breakfast, and lunch had been scheduled for after the ceremony that never happened. Her stomach growled at the mention of food, and Nathan smiled. Come on. Lily will be waiting. The dining room was less formal than Gabrielle expected, with a round table instead of the long rectangular one she'd imagined wealthy people used. Lily was already seated, her booster cushion giving her enough height to reach the table comfortably. She'd changed into purple pajamas with white stars on them, and her hair had been released from its puffs, falling in soft curls around her face. "You took forever," Lily announced. "I'm very hungry." "My apologies," Nathan said with mock solemnity, taking his seat. "We were discussing important matters." "Were you talking about me?" Lily asked, interested. "Some of it," Gabrielle admitted, sitting down across from the little girl. "Your father was telling me about your schedule, your activities, things like that." "I take piano," Lily said proudly. "And swimming. I'm not very good at swimming yet, but my teacher says I'm improving. Do you know how to swim?" "I do," Gabrielle said. "Maybe I can come watch you practice sometime." "Really?" Lily's face lit up. "Daddy's usually too busy to come to my lessons. It would be nice to have someone watching." Nathan's expression tightened slightly at this, a flash of guilt crossing his face. "I come when I can, sweetheart." "I know, Daddy," Lily said quickly, clearly not wanting to upset him. "You're very busy with work." Helen brought out the food, and for a few minutes, everyone focused on eating. The chicken was perfectly seasoned, the rice fluffy and fragrant. Gabrielle ate slowly, savoring every bite, feeling some of her strength returning with the food. "Miss Washington," Lily said suddenly, setting down her fork, "are you very sad about the man who didn't come today?" "Lily," Nathan said quietly, "that might not be something Miss Washington wants to discuss." "It's okay," Gabrielle said, appreciating the little girl's honesty. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm sad. I thought I was going to marry that man, and it hurts that he changed his mind." "My mommy didn't change her mind," Lily said solemnly. "She just died. Daddy says she would have stayed if she could, but sometimes things happen that we can't control." "Your daddy is right," Gabrielle said gently. "And I'm very sorry about your mommy. That must make you sad too." Lily nodded, her eyes suddenly looking older than her 6 years. "Yes. But Daddy says sad feelings don't last forever. They get smaller over time. Do you think your sad feelings will get smaller?" "I hope so," Gabrielle replied honestly. "I think being here with you might help them get smaller faster." This seemed to please Lily. She went back to eating, apparently satisfied with the conversation. Nathan caught Gabrielle's eye across the table and mouthed, "Thank you." She nodded slightly, understanding that navigating discussions about grief with a 6-year-old wasn't easy, especially when he was dealing with his own loss. After dinner, Nathan excused himself to make some phone calls for work, leaving Gabrielle and Lily alone in the living room. The little girl immediately took Gabrielle's hand and led her upstairs. "You promised to say goodnight," Lily reminded her. "Come see my room." The room behind the purple door was exactly what Gabrielle would have imagined for a 6-year-old girl, if that girl had unlimited resources. The walls were painted a soft lavender, with white clouds stenciled near the ceiling. The bed was princess-style, with a canopy draped in sheer purple fabric. Shelves lined one wall, filled with books and toys organized by type. A play kitchen sat in one corner, a art easel in another. Everything was high quality but also well used. This wasn't a showroom. This was a space where a child actually played and lived. "It's beautiful," Gabrielle said sincerely. "Mommy helped me pick the colors," Lily said, climbing into bed. "Before she got sick. She said every girl should have a room that makes her feel like a princess." "She was right," Gabrielle agreed, pulling the covers up to Lily's chin. "You are a princess." "So are you," Lily said matter-of-factly. "Even though you're sad, you're still a princess. Princesses can be sad sometimes." The simple wisdom of it made Gabrielle smile. "That's true. Thank you for reminding me. Will you read me a story?" Lily asked, pointing to the bookshelf. "Daddy does, but sometimes he falls asleep before the end. He works too much." Gabrielle selected a picture book about a rabbit who went on adventures and settled into the chair beside Lily's bed. As she read, she watched the little girl's eyes grow heavy, her breathing slow and even. By the time the rabbit returned home in the story, Lily was fast asleep, one small hand curled under her cheek. Gabrielle sat there for a moment, watching this child who'd shown her such unexpected kindness today. Lily had insisted on staying at the church. She'd held Gabrielle's hand in the car. She'd accepted this strange new person into her home without hesitation. What had this little girl been through to develop such empathy at such a young age? "She likes you." Gabrielle startled slightly. Nathan stood in the doorway, his jacket removed and his sleeves rolled up. He looked tired but softer somehow, his defenses down now that he was home with his daughter. "She's wonderful," Gabrielle said quietly, standing up. "You're raising an incredible child." I'm trying, Nathan said, moving into the room to kiss Lily's forehead gently. Some days are better than others. Today was a good day despite how it started for you. They walked out into the hallway, leaving Lily's door slightly ajar the way Nathan said she preferred. The house felt different at night, quieter, more intimate. Gabrielle was acutely aware that she was alone with this man she barely knew in his home, about to spend the night under his roof. I should let you get settled, Nathan said, reading her discomfort. Helen left some pajamas and toiletries in your room in case you need anything. Tomorrow we can discuss salary, schedule, all the practical details. But tonight just rest. You've been through an ordeal. Mr. Pierce, Gabrielle started. Nathan, he corrected gently. If you're going to live here, we should be on a first-name basis. Nathan, she tried again. Why are you really doing this? The job, the generous pay, the beautiful room. You could have anyone. Why me? Nathan was quiet for a long moment, his gaze distant. Because when I looked at you today, standing at that altar with such dignity despite your pain, I saw the kind of strength my daughter needs to see. She's been surrounded by people who tiptoe around her grief, who treat her like she's fragile. But you're someone who knows real pain and still shows up with grace. That's the example I want in her life. He paused, then continued, and maybe, selfishly, I saw someone who needed a fresh start. After my wife died, people gave me the space to rebuild my life. They offered help without judgment. I wanted to do the same for you. Call it paying forward the kindness I received. Gabrielle felt something tight in her chest loosen slightly. Thank you. For everything. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Nathan said with quiet confidence. Good night, Gabrielle. Welcome home. Gabrielle woke to sunlight streaming through windows she didn't recognize, in a bed far more comfortable than any she'd ever slept in. For a confused moment, she thought she was in a hotel. Then yesterday crashed back into her consciousness. The wedding, the abandonment, Nathan's unexpected offer, Lily's sweet face. She sat up slowly, taking in the blue suite in daylight. Someone had unpacked her suitcases while she slept. Her clothes hung neatly in the walk-in closet, her toiletries arranged on the bathroom counter, her laptop set up on the desk. A handwritten note sat on the nightstand. Didn't want to wake you. Breakfast is in the kitchen whenever you're ready. Take your time. Helen. Gabrielle showered in the massive bathroom, letting hot water wash away the tension she'd been carrying. She dressed in jeans and a red sweater, nothing fancy, trying to look approachable for Lily. When she made her way downstairs, following the sound of voices and the smell of coffee, she found Nathan and Lily already in the kitchen. Good morning, Nathan said, looking up from his tablet. He wore dark slacks and a light blue shirt, clearly dressed for work. I hope you slept well. Better than I expected, Gabrielle admitted. That bed is incredible. It should be. My wife spent 3 months picking out mattresses for every room in this house. His expression was fond rather than sad when he mentioned her. She believed life was too short for uncomfortable beds. Lily sat at the kitchen counter eating pancakes shaped like stars. She wore her school uniform, a navy skirt and white shirt, with her hair pulled back in the same 2 puffs from yesterday. Miss Washington, do you like pancakes? Helen makes them with chocolate chips inside. I love pancakes, Gabrielle said, sliding onto a stool beside the little girl. And you can call me Gabrielle if you want. Miss Washington sounds very formal. Daddy says I have to be respectful, Lily said seriously. And Daddy is right, Nathan interjected. But I think Miss Gabrielle is a good compromise. Respectful but friendlier. Miss Gabrielle, Lily tested the name. I like it. Helen appeared with a plate of star-shaped pancakes and set them in front of Gabrielle, along with a steaming mug of coffee prepared exactly how she'd taken it last night. The woman didn't miss anything. Thank you, Helen, Gabrielle said gratefully. My pleasure, dear. Helen wiped her hands on her apron. Mr. Pierce, the car will be ready to take Lily to school in 15 minutes. Do you want Gabrielle to accompany her this morning? Actually, Nathan said, setting down his tablet, I thought I'd take Lily today and Gabrielle could come along to see the school routine. That way she'll know exactly what to expect when she handles drop-offs and pickups. Can we do that? Lily asked excitedly. All 3 of us in the car? Absolutely, Nathan confirmed. Finish your breakfast. 20 minutes later, they were in Nathan's car heading toward Lily's school. The morning traffic was heavy, giving Gabrielle a chance to observe the neighborhood in daylight. Every house was impressive, every lawn perfectly maintained. This was a world she'd never imagined being part of. Lily attends Riverside Academy, Nathan explained as they drove. It's a private school, small class sizes, excellent teachers. She's in first grade with Mrs. Patterson, who's wonderful with shy children. Lily's been struggling to make friends, but Mrs. Patterson has been patient and supportive. Do the other children know about her mother? Gabrielle asked carefully. Yes. The school counselor worked with Lily's class at the beginning of the year to help them understand grief and loss. Most of the kids have been kind, but Lily still keeps to herself. Nathan glanced at his daughter in the rearview mirror. She's working on it though. Aren't you, sweetheart? I'm trying, Lily said quietly. But it's hard when everyone asks questions. What kind of questions? Gabrielle asked. Like, what happened to your mommy? And does it make you sad? And are you going to cry? Lily's voice was matter-of-fact, but Gabrielle could hear the strain underneath. I don't like talking about it all the time. That makes sense, Gabrielle said. It's your private feelings. You don't have to share them with everyone. Lily looked at her with something like relief. That's what I think too. Riverside Academy was housed in a converted mansion, all brick and ivy, with a playground visible behind the main building. Children in matching uniforms streamed toward the entrance, backpacks bouncing, voices excited. Nathan pulled into the drop-off line. Usually Marcus drives her, Nathan explained. He's my regular driver. He'll wait in the lot and then pick her up at 3:30. But like I said, I'd prefer if you're the one here when she comes out. Kids need familiar faces, not just employees doing a job. I understand, Gabrielle said. When it was their turn, Nathan got out and opened Lily's door, helping her with her backpack. Gabrielle watched through the window as he knelt down to Lily's level, adjusting the collar of her shirt and saying something that made her giggle. The obvious love between them was touching and a little painful to witness. Derek had never wanted children, had always deflected when Gabrielle brought up the topic. Watching Nathan with Lily made her wonder what she'd been settling for. Lily suddenly ran back to the car and tapped on Gabrielle's window. When Gabrielle rolled it down, the little girl leaned in. Will you be here when I get home? She asked. Yes, Gabrielle promised. I'll be right here waiting for you. Good. Lily smiled, then ran back to join the stream of children heading inside. Nathan returned to the car and they drove in silence for a few minutes. Gabrielle could sense he wanted to say something but was choosing his words carefully. She's already attached to you, he finally said. I hope that doesn't make you uncomfortable. It doesn't, Gabrielle replied honestly. It's sweet. She's a special child. She is. Nathan's hands tightened slightly on the steering wheel. But that also means I need to be careful. She's already lost one important woman in her life. I can't let her bond with someone who might not stay. The implication hung in the air. Gabrielle understood what he was really asking. Was she committed to this, or was it just a desperate escape from yesterday's disaster? I'm not going anywhere, Gabrielle said firmly. I made a promise to you and to Lily. I keep my promises, unlike some people. Nathan's expression softened. I believe you. And I'm sorry if I seem doubtful. I'm just protective of her. Sometimes overly so. That's what good fathers do, Gabrielle said. Protect their children. They returned to the house, where Nathan showed Gabrielle around properly. The main floor included the kitchen, dining room, living room, a library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, Nathan's home office, and a media room. The second floor had the bedrooms and a playroom for Lily. The third floor was mostly storage and a guest suite. Outside, the grounds included the pool, a garden, a small greenhouse, and what Nathan called the art studio, a converted pool house where his late wife had painted. Regina was an artist, Nathan explained as they stood outside the studio. She sold a few pieces, but mostly she painted for joy. After she died, I locked the studio. I couldn't bring myself to go in, couldn't deal with all her unfinished work. It's still exactly as she left it. That must be hard, Gabrielle said softly. It is. But recently I've been thinking maybe it's time to open it again. Lily's showing an interest in art, just like her mother. Maybe we could clean it up, turn it into a space where Lily could create. Regina would have liked that. I'd be happy to help, Gabrielle offered. If you decide to do it. They walked back toward the main house. Nathan checked his watch and grimaced. I have a meeting in 40 minutes. I need to leave soon. Will you be okay here on your own? Helen can answer any questions you have. I'll be fine, Gabrielle assured him. I can explore, get familiar with everything. Maybe plan some activities for when Lily gets home. Perfect. Nathan paused at the door. Oh, and we need to discuss your compensation. I'm thinking $8,000 a month, plus room and board, health insurance, and use of one of the cars if you need to take Lily anywhere. Gabrielle's jaw dropped. $8,000 a month was more than 3 times what she'd been making at the call center. That's too much. It's fair for the responsibility I'm giving you, Nathan countered. You're not just babysitting. You're essentially co-parenting with me. That deserves proper compensation. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Nathan suggested with a slight smile. My accountant will set everything up. You'll have direct deposit by the end of the week. After Nathan left for work, Gabrielle wandered through the house, trying to absorb the reality of her new life. Helen found her in the library, running her fingers along the spines of books. Overwhelming, isn't it? The older woman said kindly. Very, Gabrielle admitted. Yesterday morning I was supposed to get married. Now I'm living in a mansion, caring for a little girl I just met. It doesn't feel real. Helen settled into one of the leather chairs. If you don't mind me saying, Mr. Pierce doesn't usually make impulsive decisions. The fact that he hired you on the spot tells me he saw something special. He loved his wife deeply, and he's been very selective about who he lets into Lily's life. Can I ask what happened to Mrs. Pierce? Gabrielle asked carefully. Nathan mentioned a car accident, but if it's too personal. It's not a secret, Helen said. Regina was driving home from her art studio one evening about 2 years ago. A drunk driver ran a red light and hit her car. She died on impact. Lily was home with Nathan when they got the call. She was only 4 years old, barely understood what death meant. That's terrible, Gabrielle whispered. It nearly destroyed them both, Helen continued. Nathan threw himself into work, barely spoke for months. Lily stopped talking altogether for almost 6 weeks. It was the darkest time I've ever witnessed in this house. They've healed somewhat, but there's still so much grief here. That's why Mr. Pierce is so particular about who he brings in. He can't risk more loss, especially not for Lily. The weight of responsibility settled more heavily on Gabrielle's shoulders. These people had been through hell. They didn't need more pain, more abandonment. She needed to make this work, not just for the money or the beautiful room, but because this little girl deserved stability and love. I won't let them down, Gabrielle said aloud. I don't think you will, dear, Helen replied. Now, shall I show you where we keep Lily's school things? You'll need to know where to find her backpack, lunchbox, and all that when you start doing pickups. The afternoon passed quickly as Gabrielle learned the routines of the house. Helen showed her how to use the security system, where emergency contacts were listed, how to operate the various appliances in the kitchen. At 3 o'clock, Gabrielle got into one of the cars, a sleek blue sedan, and drove to Riverside Academy with Helen riding along to make sure she knew the route. Children poured out of the building at 3:30 exactly, a colorful flood of navy and white. Gabrielle stood near the designated pickup area, scanning for Lily. When the little girl emerged, she was alone, carrying her backpack and looking at the ground. Lily, Gabrielle called, waving. Lily's head snapped up, her face transforming when she saw Gabrielle. She ran over, nearly tripping in her excitement. You came, she said breathlessly. You really came. Of course I did, Gabrielle said, opening the car door for her. I promised, didn't I? Lots of people make promises, Lily said, climbing into her booster seat. But you kept yours. The simple statement broke Gabrielle's heart a little. This child was already so aware of broken promises, of people not following through. It made her more determined than ever to be consistent, to be reliable, to be someone Lily could count on. On the drive home, Lily chattered about her day. Her teacher had read a story about penguins. They'd practiced writing the letter M. There had been pizza for lunch, but it wasn't very good pizza, not like the kind they got from Tony's. Gabrielle listened to every word, asking questions, showing genuine interest. Back at the house, Lily changed into play clothes and led Gabrielle to the playroom. They built a castle out of blocks, played dress-up with an impressive collection of costumes, and read 3 books before Lily remembered she had homework. I have to practice writing words, she explained, pulling out her workbook. 5 words, 5 times each. Do you want to help me? Absolutely, Gabrielle said, settling beside her at the small desk in the corner. They worked through the words together. Cat, dog, run, jump, play. Lily's handwriting was shaky but improving, her tongue sticking out slightly in concentration as she formed each letter. Gabrielle praised her efforts, gently corrected mistakes, and made the whole process feel like a game rather than a chore. Nathan arrived home around 6:30, loosening his tie as he walked through the door. He found them in the kitchen, where Gabrielle was helping Lily set the table for dinner. How was your day? He asked, directing the question to both of them. Good, Lily reported. Miss Gabrielle picked me up just like she promised, and we played castle and dress up and did my homework. I only had to erase 3 times. That's excellent, Nathan said, pride evident in his voice. He looked at Gabrielle. And how was your first official day? Perfect, Gabrielle said honestly. Lily was wonderful. We're getting to know each other. Over dinner, Helen outdid herself with roasted chicken, vegetables, and the best mashed potatoes Gabrielle had ever tasted. The conversation flowed easily, with Lily dominating most of it, telling her father about every detail of her day. Nathan listened attentively, asking follow-up questions, clearly treasuring these moments with his daughter. After dinner, Gabrielle helped Lily with her bath, a process that involved more playing with bath toys than actual washing. When Lily was in her pajamas, teeth brushed and hair combed, they returned to her room for the bedtime story ritual. Can we read 2 books tonight? Lily asked hopefully. Since it's your first real night here? 2 books sounds perfect, Gabrielle agreed. They were halfway through the second book when Nathan appeared in the doorway, watching them with an expression Gabrielle couldn't quite read. When she finished the story, he came in to say goodnight to Lily. Did you have a good day, princess? He asked, tucking the covers around her. The best day, Lily said sleepily. Miss Gabrielle is nice, Daddy. Can she stay forever? We'll see, sweetheart, Nathan said gently. Sleep well. In the hallway, after Lily's door was closed, Nathan turned to Gabrielle. Thank you. I don't think I've seen her this happy in months. You have a gift with her. She makes it easy, Gabrielle replied. She's such a good kid. She is, but that doesn't diminish what you're doing. Nathan paused, seeming to struggle with something. I meant what I said at the church yesterday. I think you might be exactly what we needed. I'm glad you're here. So am I, Gabrielle said, surprised to realize she meant it completely. As she got ready for bed in the blue suite, Gabrielle thought about how much her life had changed in just 24 hours. Yesterday she'd been abandoned at the altar, her future in ruins. Today she had a purpose, a place, and the beginning of something that felt like belonging. Maybe broken promises could lead to better things. Maybe endings were really just beginnings in disguise. And maybe, just maybe, she'd stumbled into exactly where she was supposed to be. The next 3 weeks fell into a comfortable routine. Gabrielle woke early, had breakfast with Nathan and Lily, drove the little girl to school, then spent her mornings helping Helen around the house or reading in the library. She picked Lily up at 3:30, and they'd spend the afternoon on homework, activities, and play. Dinner was family time, with Nathan making it home by 7 most evenings. Then came bath time, bedtime stories, and quiet evenings where Gabrielle often found herself in easy conversation with Nathan after Lily was asleep. It surprised her how naturally she'd adapted to this life. The luxury that had seemed overwhelming at first now felt normal. She knew which kitchen cabinet held the good snacks, which bathroom towels were the softest, which chair in the library caught the best afternoon light. She knew that Lily liked her sandwiches cut diagonally, that she was afraid of thunderstorms, that she counted the stairs as she climbed them every single time. And she was learning about Nathan too. He was devoted to his work at Pierce Industries, a technology company he'd built from the ground up. He was fair with his employees, generous with charitable donations, and fiercely protective of his privacy. He read the newspaper every morning with his coffee, preferred tea in the evenings, and often worked late into the night in his home office when jet lag from business trips disrupted his sleep. He was also lonely. Gabrielle could see it in the way he lingered over dinner conversations, reluctant to let the evening end. In the way he'd sometimes stand at his office window staring out at nothing. In the careful way he avoided looking at the wedding ring he still wore on his left hand. One Saturday morning, 3 weeks into her tenure at the Pierce house, Gabrielle found Nathan in the kitchen earlier than usual making pancakes. It was his day off, a rare weekend where he had no business obligations. Good morning, she said, surprised. I didn't expect you up this early. Old habits, Nathan replied, flipping a pancake with practiced ease. I thought I'd make breakfast before Lily wakes up. Care to join me? Gabrielle poured herself coffee and sat at the counter watching him work. He was wearing jeans and a simple green shirt, more casual than she usually saw him. Without the suit and tie he looked younger, less burdened. I wanted to thank you, Nathan said, not looking at her as he spoke. These past few weeks, Lily's been different. Happier. She laughs more, talks more. Her teacher called yesterday to say she's finally starting to interact with the other children at recess. That's because of you. It's because she's ready, Gabrielle said. I'm just here to support her. Don't minimize what you're doing, Nathan said firmly, finally meeting her eyes. You're giving her something she hasn't had since Regina died. Consistent maternal presence. Someone who's there every day, who listens to her, who makes her feel important. That matters more than you know. The word maternal struck Gabrielle unexpectedly. Was that what she was becoming to Lily? Not just a caregiver, but something more significant? I care about her, Gabrielle said simply. She's easy to care about. And she cares about you too, Nathan replied. Last night she told me she's been praying you'll never leave. Which brings me to something I wanted to discuss with you. He set down his spatula and turned to face her fully. I originally thought of this as a temporary arrangement. You needed a place to recover from what happened. I needed immediate help with Lily. But it's become clear that this is working better than I could have hoped. I'd like to make this permanent. Not just a job, but a real long-term commitment to our family. Gabrielle's heart beat faster. Permanent how? I'd like to draw up a proper employment contract, increase your salary to $10,000 a month, include full benefits, vacation time, everything. But more than that, I want you to think of yourself as part of this family, not just an employee. Lily needs that stability, and honestly, I think you might need it too. That's very generous, Gabrielle managed to say. It's practical, Nathan corrected. You're valuable to us, Gabrielle. I don't want to risk losing you because I didn't make it worth your while to stay. Before Gabrielle could respond, Lily appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from her eyes. She wore her favorite purple pajamas, and her hair stood up in every direction. Pancakes, she asked hopefully. Star-shaped pancakes for my favorite girl, Nathan confirmed, scooping her up for a hug. And Miss Gabrielle is joining us. Good, Lily said, settling into her seat. Can we do something fun today? All three of us together? Nathan and Gabrielle exchanged glances. They hadn't spent much time as a trio outside of meals and bedtime routines. Most of Nathan's free time with Lily was on weekends, when Gabrielle deliberately gave them space. What did you have in mind? Nathan asked. The zoo, Lily said immediately. We haven't been to the zoo in forever. Mommy used to take me, but we stopped going after she died. The request hung in the air. Nathan's expression tightened, and Gabrielle could see him struggling with the memory. But before he could deflect or make excuses, Gabrielle spoke up. I think the zoo sounds perfect. We could pack a picnic lunch, make a whole day of it. Really? Lily looked between them hopefully. Really? Nathan agreed, making the decision. Let's do it. It's been long enough. Your mother would want you to still enjoy the places you visited together. 2 hours later, they arrived at the city zoo. Lily's excitement was contagious as she pulled them from exhibit to exhibit, reading the plaques aloud, asking questions about every animal. Nathan bought her a stuffed giraffe from the gift shop, and Gabrielle took dozens of photos on her phone. They ate lunch at a picnic area overlooking the elephant habitat. Lily sat between them, chattering non-stop about which animals were her favorites and why. When she finished eating, she ran off to play on the nearby playground, burning off energy. Thank you for pushing me to do this, Nathan said quietly, watching his daughter climb the jungle gym. I've been avoiding places with too many memories. But you're right. Regina would be angry with me for letting grief steal Lily's joy. Grief is hard, Gabrielle said. There's no right way to handle it. How are you handling yours? Nathan asked, turning to look at her. We've been so focused on Lily, I haven't asked about you. Do you ever think about Derek? Regret what happened? Gabrielle considered the question honestly. I think about it, but mostly I feel relieved. He showed me who he really was before I made a permanent mistake. If he'd had second thoughts a year into marriage, it would have been so much worse. That's a remarkably mature perspective, Nathan observed. I'm trying to learn from it, Gabrielle said. I think I ignored a lot of red flags because I was so focused on the idea of getting married, of having that traditional life. I didn't pay enough attention to whether Derek was actually the right person for me. What would you look for now? Nathan asked. If you were to consider dating again, I mean. The question felt oddly personal, but Gabrielle answered anyway. Kindness. Reliability. Someone who shows up when they say they will. Someone who treats me like I matter, not like I'm convenient. Those seem like reasonable requirements, Nathan said, a slight smile playing at his lips. You'd think so, Gabrielle replied. But apparently they're harder to find than I thought. Lily ran back over, interrupting the moment. Can we see the penguins? Please? They spent another 2 hours at the zoo before heading home, all of them tired but happy. Lily fell asleep in the car, her new stuffed giraffe clutched in her arms. Nathan carried her inside while Gabrielle gathered their things from the trunk. In the foyer, Nathan paused. Today was good. We should do more of this. Family outings, I mean. If you're comfortable with that. I'm comfortable, Gabrielle assured him. That night, after Lily was asleep, Gabrielle found Nathan in the library, a glass of wine in his hand, staring at a photograph on the shelf. It showed him Regina and baby Lily, all smiling at the camera. Regina was stunning, with glowing skin and a bright smile that lit up the whole picture. She was beautiful, Gabrielle said softly from the doorway. She was, Nathan agreed, not looking away from the photo. She was also funny, talented, stubborn as hell when she believed in something. She made me a better person. She gave you Lily, Gabrielle said. That's quite a legacy. It is. Nathan finally set down the photo. Can I ask you something personal? Of course. Do you believe people get second chances at happiness? After loss, I mean. Gabrielle thought about her own losses, her failed relationship, her abandoned dreams. I think we have to believe that. Otherwise, what's the point of continuing? That's what I've been telling myself, Nathan said. But sometimes I feel guilty for even considering it. Like moving forward means forgetting Regina. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting, Gabrielle said gently. It means honoring her memory by living the full life she'd want for you and Lily. She wouldn't want you stuck in grief forever. Nathan looked at her for a long moment, something shifting in his expression. How did you get so wise? Pain is a good teacher, Gabrielle replied with a slight smile. I suppose it is. Nathan set down his wine glass. I should let you get some rest. But thank you, Gabrielle. For today, for the past few weeks, for everything. You've brought light back into this house. As Gabrielle headed upstairs, she felt something stirring in her chest that she couldn't quite name. It wasn't just contentment or satisfaction with her new life. It was something warmer, something that made her hyper-aware of Nathan's presence, of his voice, of the way he looked at her sometimes when he thought she wasn't paying attention. She pushed the feeling away. Nathan was her employer. This was a professional relationship, nothing more. The fact that they'd become friends, that they shared easy conversations and comfortable silences, didn't mean anything beyond mutual respect and shared purpose. But as she lay in bed that night, Gabrielle couldn't stop replaying the day. The way Nathan had laughed at Lily's jokes. The way he'd instinctively reached for Gabrielle's hand when Lily had run too far ahead. The way his eyes had softened when he thanked her in the library. She was in dangerous territory, she realized. She was starting to care about Nathan Pierce as more than just her employer. She was starting to imagine what it might be like if they were a real family, not just people playing roles. It was foolish and risky, she told herself. She'd barely recovered from Derek's betrayal. She had no business developing feelings for anyone, especially not her boss. But feelings, she was learning, didn't always follow logic. They grew quietly in the spaces between words, in shared glances and small kindnesses, in the gradual building of trust and understanding. And despite her best intentions to keep things professional, Gabrielle could feel herself falling. The question was, what was she going to do about it? The first Tuesday of November brought unseasonably cold weather and the decision to finally open Regina's art studio. Nathan announced it at breakfast, his voice casual but his hands gripping his coffee mug a little too tightly. I've been thinking, he said, not looking at either Gabrielle or Lily. It's time to open up the studio. Lily's been asking to paint more, and it seems wrong to keep all of Regina's art supplies locked away and used. Lily's eyes went wide. Really, Daddy? We can go in Mommy's studio? Really, Nathan confirmed. But we're going to do it together. As a family. The word family hung in the air. Nathan's eyes met Gabrielle's briefly, and she saw vulnerability there, a silent request for support. That sounds like a good plan, Gabrielle said warmly. Your mother would be happy to know her art supplies are being used, especially by you, Lily. After dropping Lily at school, Nathan and Gabrielle walked across the property to the converted pool house. Nathan pulled out a key ring, his hand shaking slightly as he sorted through the keys. Gabrielle placed her hand gently on his arm. We can wait if you're not ready, she said. I'm ready, Nathan replied. I need to be ready. It's been 2 years. I can't keep avoiding this. The door stuck slightly from disuse, but Nathan pushed it open. Inside, the studio was exactly as Regina had left it. Canvases in various stages of completion lined the walls. Paint brushes sat in jars of cloudy water. A palette with dried paint sat on the main work table. The air smelled stale but also faintly of oils and turpentine. Nathan stood in the doorway, frozen. Gabrielle watched emotions play across his face. Grief, guilt, love, pain. She waited silently, letting him process at his own pace. She was working on that one, Nathan finally said, pointing to a large canvas showing a little girl playing in a garden. It was supposed to be Lily. She never finished it. It's beautiful even unfinished, Gabrielle said softly. Nathan walked further into the room, touching things carefully. A paint-stained apron hanging on a hook, a sketchbook filled with drawings, photographs pinned to a bulletin board. She spent hours out here. Sometimes I'd have to come drag her back to the house for dinner. She'd lose track of time when she was creating. She must have been very talented. She was. Nathan picked up one of the photographs, a candid shot of Regina laughing, paint smudged on her cheek. She was talented and passionate and so full of life. And then one drunk driver destroyed all of that in an instant. The bitterness in his voice was sharp, a glimpse of the anger he usually kept carefully controlled. Gabrielle understood. Grief wasn't just sadness. It was rage at the unfairness, at the randomness, at the way one person's bad decision could shatter entire lives. She wouldn't want this place to be a shrine, Nathan said after a long silence. She'd want it to be used, to be filled with creativity and joy again. That's who she was. She believed in moving forward, in making the most of every moment. Then let's honor that, Gabrielle suggested. We can clean up, organize the supplies, make it a space where Lily can create. We don't have to get rid of Regina's work. We can display it, celebrate it, but also make room for new art. Nathan nodded slowly. Will you help me? I don't think I can do this alone. Of course, Gabrielle said without hesitation. They spent the rest of the morning in the studio. They opened windows to let in fresh air, replaced the stale water in the paintbrush jars, organized supplies into labeled containers. They found dozens of Regina's completed paintings wrapped in brown paper, each one a revelation of talent and vision. Landscapes, portraits, abstract pieces that conveyed emotion through color and movement. These should be displayed, Gabrielle said, unwrapping a particularly stunning painting of a sunset. Not hidden away. Regina never liked showing her work, Nathan said. She was private about her art, felt it was too personal to share widely. But Lily should see them, Gabrielle pressed gently. She should know her mother's talent, should be inspired by it. Nathan considered this, then nodded. You're right. I'll have some of them professionally framed. We can hang them in the house, in Lily's playroom maybe. Places where they'll be seen and appreciated. By lunchtime the studio was transformed. It was clean, organized, ready for use. But it still held Regina's presence, her completed works displayed proudly on the walls, her favorite brushes kept in a special case on the shelf. Thank you, Nathan said as they locked up. I couldn't have done this without you. You could have, Gabrielle replied. But I'm glad I was here to help. That afternoon, when they picked up Lily from school, Nathan told her about the studio. Her face lit up with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Can we go there now? She asked. Can I paint? Absolutely, Nathan said. That's exactly what we're going to do. In the studio, Lily stood in awe, taking in her mother's paintings, the organized supplies, the easels set up and ready. It's like Mommy's still here, she whispered. She is here, Nathan said, kneeling beside his daughter. In her art, in your memories, in the love she left behind. And now you can create your own art, right here where she created hers. Lily chose a small canvas and a variety of paint colors. Gabrielle helped her into one of Regina's old aprons, rolling up the sleeves so they wouldn't drag. For the next hour, Lily painted with fierce concentration, creating an abstract piece that was all swirls of purple and blue. Nathan watched from a stool in the corner, his expression soft. When Lily finished and proudly displayed her work, he applauded. Your mother would be so proud, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Do you think she can see it? Lily asked. From heaven? I think she sees everything you do, Nathan replied. And she's smiling. That night, after Lily was asleep, Nathan knocked on Gabrielle's door. She opened it to find him holding a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. Feel like company? He asked. I thought we could sit in the library, talk for a bit. Today was intense, and I don't want to be alone with my thoughts. Of course, Gabrielle said, following him downstairs. They settled into the comfortable chairs by the fireplace. Nathan poured wine for both of them, then sat back with a deep sigh. I was terrified to open that studio, he admitted. I thought it would break me, seeing all her things, feeling her absence so acutely. But you were right. It needed to be done. And having you there made it bearable. You're stronger than you think, Gabrielle said. Maybe, Nathan allowed. Or maybe I'm just good at pretending. He took a sip of wine, then looked at her directly. Can I tell you about the night Regina died? Gabrielle nodded, sensing he needed to share this. We'd had an argument that morning, Nathan began, his voice low. Something stupid about me working too much, not being present enough. She was right, but I was defensive. She left angry, said she was going to the studio to paint. I had meetings all day, didn't call to apologize. When the police showed up that evening, my last words to her had been angry ones. I never got to tell her I was sorry, that I loved her, that she was more important than any business deal. Nathan, Gabrielle said softly. She knew you loved her. Did she? Nathan's eyes were bright with unshed tears. Because I wonder sometimes if I showed her enough. If I appreciated her while I had her. I was always planning for the future, building the business, thinking we had all the time in the world. And then suddenly we didn't. She was just gone, and I was left with a 4-year-old daughter who needed me to be strong when I was completely shattered. Gabrielle moved to the chair beside him, taking his hand. You're allowed to still grieve. You're allowed to have regrets. But you can't let guilt consume you. You're an amazing father, Nathan. You've built a beautiful life for Lily despite your pain. Regina would be proud of you. Would she? Nathan looked at their joined hands. Or would she be disappointed that I'm starting to feel things I shouldn't feel? That I'm beginning to imagine a future that includes someone new? The air between them suddenly felt charged. Gabrielle's heart began to race. Was he saying what she thought he was saying? You deserve happiness, she managed to say. Regina would want that for you. Even if that happiness involves my daughter's caregiver? Nathan asked quietly. Even if I'm starting to care about someone I employ? Someone who's only been in my life for a month? Gabrielle couldn't breathe. Nathan. I'm not asking for anything, Nathan said quickly. I'm not putting you in an awkward position. I just needed to be honest. This past month, having you here, seeing how you are with Lily, talking to you in the evenings, I've started to feel alive again. And that terrifies me because I don't know if it's real or if I'm just lonely and grateful and confusing those feelings with something more. I think, Gabrielle said carefully, that we're both in complicated emotional places. I'm recovering from rejection and betrayal. You're grieving your wife. Neither of us is in a position to make clear-headed decisions about feelings. You're right, Nathan agreed. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. Don't apologize, Gabrielle said. I'm glad you told me, because I need you to know that I feel it too. Whatever this is between us, I feel it. But you're right to be cautious. We need to think about Lily first. She can't get caught up in adult emotions and confusion. Agreed, Nathan said, relief evident on his face. So what do? We continue as we have been, Gabrielle suggested. Friends, colleagues, co-parents in a sense. We give ourselves time to figure out what's real and what's just circumstance. And if, after some time has passed, we both still feel this connection, then we can revisit the conversation. That's very sensible, Nathan said with a slight smile. One of us has to be, Gabrielle replied, matching his smile. They finished their wine in comfortable silence, the tension between them eased by honesty. When Gabrielle stood to leave, Nathan walked her to the stairs. Thank you, he said. For today, for tonight, for understanding. You're remarkable, Gabrielle Washington. So are you, Nathan Pierce, she replied. As Gabrielle lay in bed that night, she replayed the conversation, his words, the way he'd looked at her. He'd essentially confessed to having feelings for her. And she'd admitted the same. They'd agreed to be cautious, to wait, to put Lily first. It was the right decision. The mature decision. But it didn't stop her heart from racing every time she thought about the possibility of a future with Nathan. Of being not just Lily's caregiver but part of their family in a deeper way. Of finding love in the aftermath of loss. But she also knew the risks. If they pursued this and it didn't work out, she'd lose not just a potential relationship but also her home, her job, and most importantly, her connection with Lily. The stakes were impossibly high. For now, she'd take it one day at a time. She'd continue being the best caregiver she could be, continue building her friendship with Nathan, continue loving this little girl who'd somehow worked her way into Gabrielle's heart. And maybe, if they were very lucky and very careful, something beautiful would grow from all this complicated terrain. November melted into December, bringing holiday preparations and a shift in the air between Gabrielle and Nathan. They were both hyper-aware of the confession that had passed between them, dancing around it carefully while maintaining their comfortable friendship. Lily, oblivious to the undercurrents, threw herself into the excitement of the approaching holidays. We need a Christmas tree, she announced one Saturday morning. A huge one that touches the ceiling. Mommy and I always picked out the biggest tree we could find. Then that's exactly what we'll do, Nathan agreed. He glanced at Gabrielle. You'll come with us, won't you? Help us pick out the perfect tree. I wouldn't miss it, Gabrielle replied, ignoring the flutter in her stomach at the way he smiled at her. They drove to a tree farm on the outskirts of the city, where rows upon rows of evergreens stood waiting. Lily ran ahead, examining each tree with serious consideration, rejecting ones that were too thin or too short or just not right. Nathan and Gabrielle followed behind, their breath forming clouds in the cold air. She's very particular, Nathan said with amusement. She gets that from you, Gabrielle teased. Fair point, Nathan conceded. He paused, then said more quietly, I'm glad you're here. Regina loved Christmas, made it magical for Lily. Last year I barely managed to put up a tree. This year feels different. Better. That's because you're healing, Gabrielle said. Both of you. They found the perfect tree, or rather Lily found it. A massive Douglas fir that was indeed tall enough to nearly touch the ceiling in the living room. Getting it home and set up took the combined efforts of Nathan, Gabrielle, and Marcus, the driver. By evening, the tree stood in the corner of the living room, filling the house with the scent of pine. Now we decorate, Lily declared. But first, hot chocolate. Helen made hot chocolate with real melted chocolate and homemade whipped cream. They sat around the kitchen island, planning their decorating strategy like it was a military operation. Lily insisted on organizing the ornaments by color before hanging them. You two are very similar, Gabrielle observed, watching Nathan and Lily sort ornaments into precise groupings. Mommy used to say we were both control freaks, Lily said matter-of-factly. But she said it with love. Nathan laughed, the sound warm and genuine. Your mother was right about most things. Decorating took hours. Each ornament had a story, this one from Lily's first Christmas, that one from a vacation in Colorado, another one hand-painted by Regina. Nathan shared the memories freely now, not flinching away from mentions of his late wife. Lily added her own recollections, her voice bright with the innocent way children remember the dead. When the last ornament was hung, they stepped back to admire their work. The tree was stunning, covered in lights and decorations, topped with a gold star. Perfect, Lily breathed. Don't you think, Miss Gabrielle? Perfect, Gabrielle agreed. That night, after Lily was asleep, Gabrielle found Nathan standing in front of the tree, lost in thought. She almost turned away, reluctant to intrude on his private moment, but he noticed her. Stay, he said. Please. She joined him, both of them gazing at the tree in silence. Regina would have loved this, Nathan finally said. She would have been so happy to see Lily this excited about Christmas again. And she would have liked you, I think. You two would have been friends. I wish I could have known her, Gabrielle said honestly. Me too. Nathan turned to face her. These past 2 months, you've given us something I didn't think we'd have again. Joy. Normalcy. The feeling of being a family instead of just two people living in the same house. You were always a family, Gabrielle corrected gently. An incomplete one, Nathan said. And I know we agreed to take things slowly, to not rush into anything. But I need you to know that my feelings haven't changed. If anything, they've grown stronger. Every day I watch you with Lily, every conversation we have, every small moment we share, I become more certain that you're someone special. Gabrielle's heart pounded. Nathan. You don't have to respond, Nathan continued. I just wanted you to know where I stand. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here. Before Gabrielle could figure out what to say, Lily's voice called out from upstairs. Daddy? Miss Gabrielle? They hurried upstairs to find Lily sitting up in bed, looking distressed. I had a bad dream, she said. About Mommy. Nathan scooped her up immediately, holding her close. It's okay, sweetheart. Just a dream. I dreamed she was far away and I couldn't reach her, Lily said, her voice muffled against Nathan's shoulder. She kept calling me but I couldn't find her. She's not far away, Gabrielle said softly, sitting on the edge of the bed. She's in your heart always. And she wants you to be happy, not scared. Are you sure? Lily asked, turning to look at Gabrielle. I'm positive, Gabrielle assured her. Mothers never really leave their children. They stay with you in all the good memories, all the love you felt. Lily seemed comforted by this. Will you both stay until I fall asleep again? Of course, Nathan said, settling into the chair beside her bed while still holding her. Gabrielle perched on the other side, and together they kept vigil until Lily's breathing evened out and she slipped back into sleep. Nathan carefully laid her down and tucked her in. In the hallway he turned to Gabrielle. Thank you. You always know exactly what to say to her. I just try to be honest, Gabrielle replied. Children need honesty more than they need perfect answers. The next week brought Lily's Christmas concert at school. All the first graders were performing songs for the parents. Lily had been practicing for weeks, coming home and singing the same 3 songs over and over until everyone in the house could recite the lyrics. "You're both coming, right?" Lily asked anxiously at breakfast the morning of the concert. "Both of you together?" "Both of us together," Nathan confirmed. "I already blocked off my calendar. And I'll be right there in the front row," Gabrielle added. "Good," Lily said, satisfied. "Everyone else will have their mommy and daddy. I'll have my daddy and Miss Gabrielle. That's almost the same." The casual comment hit both adults hard. They exchanged glances across the table, neither sure how to respond. That evening, the school auditorium was packed with parents armed with cameras and smartphones. Nathan and Gabrielle found seats in the 3rd row, close enough to see Lily clearly. She stood on the risers with her classmates, wearing a red velvet dress and looking nervous. When the children started singing, Lily's voice was initially shaky. But when she spotted Nathan and Gabrielle in the audience, her face brightened and her voice grew stronger. She sang directly to them, putting her whole heart into the performance. Gabrielle felt tears prickling her eyes. This little girl who'd lost her mother far too young, was still finding joy, still trying so hard to be brave. And somehow, Gabrielle had become part of her support system, part of her family in an undefined but undeniable way. After the concert, Lily ran to them, throwing her arms around Gabrielle first. "Did you see me? Did I do good?" "You were perfect," Gabrielle said, hugging her tightly. "The best singer up there." "The very best," Nathan agreed, swooping Lily up for a hug. "I'm so proud of you, princess." As they walked to the car, Lily between them holding both their hands, a woman from Lily's class approached. She was polished and pretty, wearing expensive clothes and a calculating expression. "Nathan Pierce," she said warmly. "It's been ages. I'm Jennifer Chin, remember? We met at the school fundraiser last year." "Of course," Nathan said politely. "Nice to see you again." Jennifer's eyes slid to Gabrielle, assessing her thoroughly. "And this must be the new nanny I've heard about." "Caregiver," Nathan corrected, his tone cooling slightly. "Gabrielle Washington. She's part of our family." "How lovely," Jennifer said, though her tone suggested she thought it was anything but. "Well, if you ever need recommendations for agencies, I know several excellent ones. It's so hard to find good help these days." "I'm not help," Gabrielle said before she could stop herself. "I'm Lily's caregiver and we have a wonderful relationship." "Of course," Jennifer said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "Well, enjoy your evening." After she walked away, Nathan muttered, "That woman has been trying to set me up with her sister for the past year. I've turned her down repeatedly." "She thinks I'm inappropriate," Gabrielle said, stung by the woman's attitude. "She's a snob," Nathan said firmly. "And her opinion doesn't matter. What matters is that Lily loves you, I trust you, and you're exactly where you should be. Can we get ice cream?" Lily interjected, oblivious to the tension. "To celebrate my concert?" "Ice cream sounds perfect," Nathan agreed, and the uncomfortable moment passed. That weekend, Nathan had to fly to Chicago for business. He'd be gone for 4 days, the longest he'd been away since Gabrielle started working for the family. Before he left, he went over everything with her. Emergency contacts, doctor's information, Helen's cell number. "I know, I'm being overprotective," Nathan said, noticing Gabrielle's amused expression. "I've just never left her for this long with someone other than Regina." "We'll be fine," Gabrielle assured him. "Go to your business thing. We'll hold down the fort." The first 2 days went smoothly. Gabrielle maintained their usual routine, and she and Lily video called Nathan each evening so he could hear about their day. But on Saturday, Gabrielle decided to do something special. "How would you like to have a girls' day?" she asked Lily over breakfast. "We could go to the park, get our nails done, maybe see a movie?" "A real girls' day?" Lily asked, eyes wide. "Like grown-ups do?" "Exactly like grown-ups do," Gabrielle confirmed. They spent the morning at the park, feeding ducks and playing on the swings. Then they went to a nail salon where Lily chose sparkly purple polish and chatted non-stop with the technician. Finally, they saw an animated movie about a girl who discovered she had magical powers. Walking back to the car, Lily slipped her hand into Gabrielle's. "This was the best day," she said. "Thank you, Miss Gabrielle." "You're welcome, sweetheart." Lily was quiet for a moment, then said in a small voice, "Can I ask you something?" "Anything. Do you think?" Lily paused, choosing her words carefully. "Do you think you could be my mommy? I know you're not my real mommy, but maybe you could be like my mommy? Forever?" Gabrielle stopped walking, her breath catching. The question hung in the air between them, enormous and impossible and heartbreaking in its simple honesty. Lily. Gabrielle knelt down to the little girl's level, taking both her hands. I love spending time with you. I love being part of your life. But being someone's mommy is something that has to happen naturally over time. It's not something we can just decide. But you like me, right? Lily asked anxiously. And Daddy likes you. I can tell he does. So why can't you just stay forever and be my mommy? Life is more complicated than that, honey, Gabrielle said gently. Your daddy and I need to figure out a lot of things. And whatever happens, it has to be right for all of us. But you're not going to leave, are you? Lily's eyes filled with tears. Everyone always leaves. Mommy left even though she didn't want to. And the nannies before you, they all left too. You're the first one who feels like she really cares. Please don't leave. Gabrielle pulled Lily into a tight hug, her own eyes stinging. I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart. I promise. Whether I'm your official mommy or just Miss Gabrielle, I'll be here as long as you need me. Forever. Lily whispered. Forever, Gabrielle promised, even though she wasn't entirely sure she could keep that promise. That night, after Lily was asleep, Gabrielle called Nathan. She told him about the day, about Lily's question, about the promise she'd made. I shouldn't have said forever, Gabrielle finished. That was presumptuous of me. I just couldn't stand seeing her so scared of being abandoned again. You said exactly what she needed to hear, Nathan replied. And for what it's worth, I want forever too. With you. I know it's too soon, I know we should wait, but Lily's asking the question we're both thinking. Can you be part of our family? Not as an employee, but as something more permanent. Nathan, we can't make decisions based on a 6-year-old's wishes, Gabrielle said, even as her heart raced. This has to make sense for both of us independently, not just because Lily wants it. I know, Nathan said. But doesn't it tell you something that my 6-year-old daughter has figured out what I've been too cautious to fully admit? She sees us as a family. She wants us to be a family. And I want that too. I want it too, Gabrielle admitted. But I'm terrified. What if we try this and it doesn't work? What if I mess up your lives even more? Or, Nathan said softly, what if it's exactly what we all need? What if the three of us together are stronger than any of us apart? Gabrielle didn't have an answer. She said goodnight and ended the call, her mind spinning with possibilities and fears. Lily's question echoed in her thoughts. Can you be my mommy forever? Could she? Did she want to? And more importantly, was she brave enough to try? Nathan returned from Chicago on Sunday evening, exhausted from travel but eager to see his daughter. Lily threw herself into his arms the moment he walked through the door, chattering about their girl's day and showing off her purple nails. And Miss Gabrielle said she's staying forever, Lily announced proudly. So you don't have to worry about finding anyone else. Nathan's eyes met Gabrielle's over Lily's head. The conversation they'd had on the phone hung between them, unfinished and weighted with implications. That's wonderful news, Nathan said carefully. Miss Gabrielle is very special to us. After Lily went to bed, Nathan found Gabrielle in the library. She'd taken to spending her evenings there, reading or simply enjoying the quiet space. We need to talk, he said, settling into the chair across from her. About what Lily said, about what we discussed on the phone. I know, Gabrielle replied. But I don't know what to say. Everything is happening so fast. 2 months ago I was getting ready to marry someone else. Now I'm considering becoming a permanent part of your family. It feels reckless. Or it feels right, Nathan suggested. Sometimes the best things in life happen unexpectedly. I never planned to fall for my daughter's caregiver. But here we are. Here we are, Gabrielle echoed, a slight smile playing at her lips. I think, Nathan said slowly, we should stop overthinking this. We're both adults. We know what we feel. Why don't we just try? See where it goes? No pressure, no expectations, just honest exploration of whatever this is between us. You make it sound simple, Gabrielle said. Maybe it is, Nathan replied. Maybe we're the ones making it complicated. Before Gabrielle could respond, her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and froze. Derek's name appeared, along with a text message. We need to talk. Can I see you? Nathan noticed her expression change. What's wrong? Nothing, Gabrielle said quickly, setting the phone face down. Just a message I wasn't expecting. But Nathan had seen the name on the screen. Derek. Yes, Gabrielle admitted. He wants to talk to me. After 2 months of silence? Nathan's voice was carefully neutral. What could he possibly have to say? I don't know, Gabrielle said. And I'm not interested in finding out. But over the next few days, Derek's messages continued. Each one was more insistent than the last. He was sorry. He'd made a terrible mistake. He wanted to explain. He needed to see her. Finally, he showed up at the Pierce estate. Helen came to find Gabrielle in the playroom where she was helping Lily with a puzzle. There's a man at the gate, Helen said, her expression disapproving. He says his name is Derek Montgomery and that he needs to speak with you urgently. Gabrielle's stomach dropped. Tell him I'm not interested. I already did, Helen replied. He says he'll wait all day if necessary. Lily looked up from her puzzle, sensing tension. Who's Derek? No one important, Gabrielle said, trying to keep her voice light. Just someone I used to know. But Derek wasn't giving up. Over the intercom system, his voice came through, tinny but audible. Gabby, please. Just give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Nathan, who'd been working in his home office, appeared in the doorway of the playroom. Is this happening right now? Apparently, Gabrielle said, frustrated and embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'll get rid of him. I'll come with you, Nathan said immediately. That's not necessary. Yes, Nathan said firmly. It is. They left Lily with Helen and walked down the driveway to where Derek stood on the other side of the gate. He looked different from the last time Gabrielle had seen him. Thinner, tired, his clothes rumpled. But when he saw her, his face lit up. Gabby, he breathed. Thank God. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. I got your messages, Gabrielle said coldly. I chose not to respond. Derek's eyes slid to Nathan, taking in his protective stance beside Gabrielle. Is this him? The guy you're working for? That's none of your business, Gabrielle replied. I think it is my business, Derek said, his tone turning aggressive. You moved on pretty quickly. Makes me wonder if something was going on before the wedding. How dare you, Gabrielle said, her voice shaking with anger. You left me standing at the altar in front of everyone I know. You don't get to question anything I've done since then. I made a mistake, Derek said, his voice pleading now. I panicked. I wasn't ready. But I've spent the past 2 months realizing what I lost. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Gabby. I want you back. It's too late, Gabrielle said. Is it? Derek looked at Nathan again. Or are you just with him for the money? Living in his big house, playing nanny to his kid? That's not you, Gabby. You're better than that. Nathan stepped forward, his voice dangerously quiet. You need to leave. Now. I'm talking to Gabby, Derek said stubbornly. You're insulting her and making assumptions about her character, Nathan corrected. Which tells me you never really knew her at all. Gabrielle is here because she's kind, compassionate, and excellent with my daughter. She's not a gold digger or an opportunist. She's one of the best people I've ever met. And she deserves far better than someone who would humiliate her the way you did. Derek's face flushed with anger. You don't know anything about us. I know she was crying in a wedding dress when I met her, Nathan said. I know you broke her heart and never bothered to apologize properly. I know you've let 2 months go by before deciding you made a mistake. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Gabby, Derek tried again, ignoring Nathan. Please, just give me another chance. We can start over, do it right this time. Gabrielle looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing. No love, no anger, not even sadness. Just a distant sense of relief that she'd escaped marrying someone so self-centered. Derek, she said calmly, you didn't just make a mistake. You showed me who you really are, someone who runs when things get difficult. Someone who puts his own comfort above other people's feelings. I deserve better than that. And I found better than that. She took Nathan's hand deliberately, a clear statement. Derek's face crumpled. So that's it, he said bitterly. You're choosing him? I'm choosing myself, Gabrielle corrected. I'm choosing a life where I'm valued and respected. I'm choosing to be part of a family that actually wants me. You had your chance, Derek. You blew it spectacularly. Now please leave and don't contact me again. Derek stared at them for a long moment, then turned and walked back to his car without another word. They watched him drive away, his car disappearing down the street. Are you okay? Nathan asked quietly, still holding her hand. I'm better than okay, Gabrielle said, surprised by how true it was. I thought seeing him again would be hard, would bring up all those painful feelings. But instead I just felt grateful. Grateful that he didn't show up at the wedding, grateful that I found you and Lily instead. Really? Nathan asked, searching her face. Really? Gabrielle confirmed. She squeezed his hand. You were right earlier. We've been overthinking this. I know what I feel. I care about you. I love Lily. I want to be part of this family, not as an employee but as someone who belongs here. Nathan's face transformed with a smile that took Gabrielle's breath away. Are you sure? Because once you say that, I'm not letting you change your mind. I'm sure, Gabrielle said. I've never been more sure of anything. Nathan pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her. They stood there in the driveway holding each other, finally admitting what had been growing between them for months. We should tell Lily, Nathan said eventually. She deserves to know that her wish is coming true. They walked back to the house hand in hand. Lily was in the playroom with Helen, but she looked up anxiously when they entered. Is the bad man gone? She asked. He's gone, Gabrielle assured her. And he won't be coming back. Lily seemed to sense something different about the way Gabrielle and her father stood together. What happened? Nathan knelt down to her level. Something wonderful happened, sweetheart. Miss Gabrielle and I realized that we care about each other. More than just as friends. And that means we're going to be a family. A real family. All three of us together. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? You mean Miss Gabrielle is going to stay forever? For real forever? For real forever, Gabrielle confirmed, kneeling beside Nathan. If you're okay with that. If I'm okay with it? Lily threw her arms around both of them. It's what I've been wishing for every single night. You're going to be my new mommy? Well, Gabrielle said carefully, I'll never replace your real mommy. She'll always be special and important. But yes, I'll be here to love you and take care of you just like a mommy would. Can I call you Mom? Lily asked hopefully. Gabrielle felt tears prickling her eyes. If that feels right to you, then yes. You can call me Mom. Lily hugged them both fiercely. Helen stood in the doorway, wiping her own eyes with her apron. Even she, who'd been skeptical of this unconventional arrangement, seemed moved by the scene. That night, after Lily was finally asleep from excitement, Nathan and Gabrielle sat in the library again. But this time they sat together on the couch, Gabrielle tucked against Nathan's side. I can't believe this is happening, Nathan said softly. 2 months ago I was just a widower trying to survive each day. Now I'm sitting here with someone who makes me believe in happiness again. Derek showing up was the push I needed, Gabrielle admitted. Seeing him made me realize how different what we have is. With Derek, I was always trying to fit into his vision of what our life should be. With you, I'm just myself. And somehow that's enough. It's more than enough, Nathan said, tilting her face up to his. You're everything. He kissed her then, soft and sweet, a promise of new beginnings. When they pulled apart, both of them were smiling. We should probably take this slowly, Nathan said, though he made no move to let her go. For Lily's sake. Probably, Gabrielle agreed. But maybe slow is overrated. They stayed up late talking about the future. How they'd explain their relationship to others. When they might get married, because both of them knew that's where this was heading. How they'd blend their lives together officially. I want to do it right this time, Gabrielle said. Not a huge wedding with hundreds of people. Just something small and meaningful. Family and close friends. Sounds perfect, Nathan agreed. And we'll do it on our timeline when we're ready. No rushing. But even as they talked about taking it slow, both of them knew the truth. They were already committed, already planning a life together, already functioning as a family. The rest was just formalities. We're halfway through this incredible journey of second chances and unexpected love. What do you think will happen next? Will Gabrielle and Nathan face more obstacles, or is their happiness secured? Subscribe if you haven't already and drop a comment with your predictions. Your engagement means everything to this story's continued creation. The weeks following Derek's appearance and Gabrielle's decision to officially become part of the Pierce family were some of the happiest of her life. There was a freedom in no longer hiding their feelings. In being able to hold hands openly, to steal quiet moments together after Lily was asleep. But not everyone was thrilled with the arrangement. Gabrielle's mother called 3 weeks after the announcement. Gabrielle hadn't spoken to her since the failed wedding, a fact that had weighed on her conscience but that she'd been too hurt to address. So you're living with some rich man now? Her mother said without preamble. Playing house with his kid? Hello, Mom, Gabrielle said, keeping her voice steady. It's nice to hear from you too. Don't be smart with me, Gabrielle Lynn Washington. Do you have any idea how embarrassing it's been for me? First, you get left at the altar and now you're shacking up with your boss? What will people think? I don't care what people think, Gabrielle replied. I care about being happy. And Nathan and Lily make me happy. Happy? Her mother scoffed. You hardly know this man. How do you know he's not just using you? Because he treats me with respect and kindness, Gabrielle said. Because he values me. Because we're building something real together. Real, her mother repeated sarcastically. Gabrielle, you're the help. You're his employee. Men like that don't marry women like us. They use them and move on. The words stung, hitting on Gabrielle's deepest insecurities. You don't know Nathan. He's not like that. They're all like that when it comes down to it, her mother said bitterly. Mark my words, you're going to get your heart broken again. And this time, don't come crying to me. The call ended badly, leaving Gabrielle shaken. Nathan found her sitting in the library, staring out the window. What's wrong? He asked immediately. Gabrielle told him about the conversation. Nathan's expression darkened with anger. Your mother had no right to say those things to you, he said. She's just worried about me, Gabrielle said, though she didn't really believe it. In her own way. There's a difference between concern and cruelty, Nathan replied. And what she said was cruel. You're not the help, Gabrielle. You're my partner, my equal. The woman I love. It was the first time he'd said the actual words. They hung in the air, perfect and terrifying. You love me? Gabrielle whispered. Of course I love you, Nathan said, taking her hands. Did you think this was just convenient companionship? I love you, Gabrielle. I love your kindness, your strength, the way you are with Lily, the way you make this house feel like a home again. I love all of you. I love you too, Gabrielle said, the words feeling natural and right. I think I've loved you for a while now. I was just too scared to admit it. They kissed, and Gabrielle felt the last of her doubts melting away. Her mother was wrong. What she and Nathan had was real and worth fighting for. But the challenges kept coming. At Lily's school Christmas party, Jennifer Chin cornered Gabrielle near the refreshment table. I heard you and Nathan Pierce are dating, she said, her smile sharp. How progressive of him. We're very happy, Gabrielle replied evenly. I'm sure you are, Jennifer said. Living in that beautiful house, no financial worries, instant access to his wealth. It must be quite the upgrade from whatever you were doing before. I was working, Gabrielle said, her patience wearing thin. Supporting myself. I don't need Nathan's money. Of course not, Jennifer said, her tone making it clear she believed the opposite. Well, just be careful. Men like Nathan have certain expectations. And when you don't meet them, they move on to the next pretty face. Gabrielle wanted to respond, wanted to defend herself and Nathan, but she was saved by Lily running over. Mom, Lily said, the words still new and wonderful on her lips. Come see what I made in art class. Jennifer's eyebrows shot up at the word mom, but she said nothing as Gabrielle let Lily pull her away. That evening, Gabrielle told Nathan about the encounter. He was furious. I'm going to talk to her, he said. This is unacceptable. No, Gabrielle said. Don't. It'll just make things worse. Let people think what they want. We know the truth. But it bothers you, Nathan observed. Of course it bothers me, Gabrielle admitted. But I'm not going to let Jennifer Chen or my mother or anyone else make me doubt what we have. I know who I am, Nathan. And I know what we are together. Nathan pulled her close. You're the strongest person I know. I learned from the best, Gabrielle said, looking up at him. You and Lily have taught me that happiness is worth fighting for. That family isn't always who you're born to, sometimes it's who you choose. December flew by in a whirl of holiday preparations. They attended Lily's school concert, baked cookies with Helen, drove through neighborhoods to look at Christmas lights. Nathan took a full week off work, something he hadn't done since Regina's death, and they spent it as a family. On Christmas morning, Lily woke them at dawn, bouncing with excitement. They gathered around the tree in their pajamas, drinking hot chocolate while Lily tore into her presents with abandon. There were dolls and books and art supplies, but her favorite gift was a necklace from Gabrielle, a delicate gold chain with a pendant showing two hearts intertwined. This one is your mommy's heart, Gabrielle explained, pointing to the larger heart. And this one is mine. They're together, both loving you. Lily hugged the necklace to her chest, tears in her eyes. I'll never take it off. Never ever. Nathan's gift to Gabrielle was equally meaningful, a key on a silver chain. It's the key to this house, he explained. But more than that, it's symbolic. You have the key to our hearts, Gabrielle. You opened us up when we were locked away in grief. You brought us back to life. Gabrielle couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. She just hugged him, feeling Lily squeeze in between them for a group hug. Later, after Lily had fallen asleep surrounded by her new toys, Nathan led Gabrielle out to the patio. The night was cold but clear, stars visible in the dark sky. I have one more gift, Nathan said, pulling a small box from his pocket. Gabrielle's heart started racing. She knew what that box meant. Nathan opened it to reveal a stunning ring, a sapphire surrounded by diamonds. It was Regina's, he said softly. Not her wedding ring, but one I gave her for our 5th anniversary. She loved this ring and I think she'd want you to have it. But if you'd prefer something new, something that's just ours, I completely understand. It's beautiful, Gabrielle whispered, looking at the ring glittering in the patio lights. Gabrielle Washington, Nathan said, taking her hand. You came into my life when I was broken. You healed my daughter and helped me remember how to live again. You've become essential to both of us, not as a caregiver or an employee but as family. I love you more than I thought it was possible to love someone after loss. Will you marry me? Will you officially become Lily's mother and my wife? Yes, Gabrielle said without hesitation. Yes to all of it. Nathan slipped the ring on her finger and they kissed under the stars. When they pulled apart, both were crying and laughing at the same time. We're really doing this, Gabrielle said, looking at the ring on her finger. We really are, Nathan confirmed. No huge wedding, no months of planning. Just us, Lily, the people we love, and a commitment to build a life together. When? Gabrielle asked. Whenever you're ready, Nathan said. Tomorrow. Next month. Next year. I just want to be your husband. Soon, Gabrielle decided. I don't want to wait. We've both waited long enough for happiness. They decided on a small ceremony in early February, giving them just over a month to prepare. The guest list would include only close family and friends. Helen, of course. Marcus, the driver who'd become like family. A few of Nathan's closest business associates. Some of Gabrielle's cousins who'd supported her through the failed wedding. And most importantly, Lily would be the flower girl. News of the engagement spread quickly. Jennifer Chin made snide comments at school pickup. Gabrielle's mother called to say she wouldn't be attending the wedding. Some of Nathan's business acquaintances questioned the wisdom of marrying the nanny. But for every negative voice there were 5 positive ones. Helen cried happy tears and immediately started planning the menu. Lily told everyone at school that she was getting a new mommy. Nathan's business partner sent a bottle of expensive champagne with a note saying, "About time you let yourself be happy again." The month of January was busy with preparations, but it was joyful stress. Gabrielle found a simple ivory dress, elegant but not too formal. They decided to hold the ceremony in the garden at the estate, weather permitting, with a small reception in the house afterward. 1 week before the wedding, Tasha, Gabrielle's best friend and the only person who truly supported her through the Derek disaster, came to visit. Gabrielle showed her around the estate, introduced her to Nathan and Lily, and finally sat down with her in the library. Are you sure about this? Tasha asked, though her tone was supportive rather than judgmental. It's been less than 4 months since Derek left you at the altar. I'm more sure of this than I ever was of marrying Derek, Gabrielle said honestly. With Derek, I was in love with the idea of getting married, of having that perfect life I'd imagined. With Nathan, I'm in love with the actual person. The flawed, grieving, wonderful man who treats me like I matter. And Lily? Tasha asked. I love her, Gabrielle said simply. She's not my biological daughter, but she's mine in every way that matters. I'd do anything for that little girl. Then I'm happy for you, Tasha said, hugging her friend. You deserve this, Gabby. You deserve to be loved the way Nathan loves you. The night before the wedding, Nathan stayed at a hotel with his business partner, following the tradition of not seeing the bride before the ceremony. Gabrielle and Lily had a girls' night, complete with face masks, popcorn, and a movie. As they got ready for bed, Lily climbed into Gabrielle's lap. Tomorrow you'll be my real mom, she said wonderingly. On paper and everything. I'll be adopting you officially, Gabrielle confirmed. If that's okay with you. It's more than okay, Lily said. It's perfect. I know my first mommy is in heaven and she'll always be special. But you're here. You're the one who reads me stories and helps with homework and makes everything better. You're my mom now. And you're my daughter, Gabrielle said, hugging her tight. I promise to take care of you, to love you, to always be here for you. No matter what. I know, Lily said confidently. You keep your promises. You always do. As Gabrielle tucked Lily into bed that night, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. The humiliation of the failed wedding. The unexpected offer from Nathan. The slow building of trust and love. The moment everything changed. Tomorrow she'd marry Nathan Pierce, officially becoming part of this family she'd somehow stumbled into. It wasn't the wedding she'd planned 4 months ago. It was better because it was real. And as she fell asleep in the blue suite for the last time as Gabrielle Washington, she smiled. Tomorrow she'd wake up and become Gabrielle Pierce. And she couldn't wait. The morning of Gabrielle's wedding to Nathan dawned clear and bright. Unlike the last time she'd prepared to marry, there was no anxiety, no second-guessing. Just pure, uncomplicated joy. Helen brought breakfast to Gabrielle's room along with Lily, who climbed onto the bed still in her pajamas. "It's your wedding day," Lily said, eyes sparkling. "Are you excited?" "Very excited," Gabrielle confirmed, pulling the little girl close. "How about you? Ready to be my flower girl?" "I've been ready forever," Lily declared. "I practiced walking slow at least 100 times." Tasha arrived mid-morning to help Gabrielle get ready. Her dress was simple but elegant, an ivory sheath that fell to mid-calf with delicate lace sleeves. She wore her hair down in loose waves with just a hint of makeup. Regina's sapphire ring sparkled on her finger, soon to be joined by a wedding band. "You look beautiful," Tasha said, tears in her eyes. "Nathan's going to lose his mind when he sees you." Lily, wearing a green dress with flowers embroidered on it, twirled in front of the mirror. "Do I look pretty too?" "You look absolutely gorgeous," Gabrielle assured her. "The prettiest flower girl ever." Downstairs the garden had been transformed. White chairs sat in neat rows facing an arch covered in winter flowers. Heaters had been set up to combat the February chill. The guest list was small, maybe 30 people total, but each one was there because they mattered. Helen had outdone herself with the reception preparations. Tables were set with white linens and elegant centerpieces. The cake, a 3-tiered masterpiece, sat on a special table near the windows. Everything was perfect, intimate and meaningful. At 2 o'clock the guests began arriving. Gabrielle watched from the upstairs window as Nathan greeted people, looking handsome in a charcoal gray suit. He kept checking his watch, clearly eager for the ceremony to begin. "He looks nervous," Tasha observed. "Good nervous or bad nervous?" Gabrielle asked. "Definitely good nervous," Tasha assured her. "That's the look of a man who can't wait to marry the woman he loves." At 2:30 it was time. Gabrielle took one last look in the mirror, then took Lily's hand. "Ready?" she asked the little girl. "Ready," Lily confirmed. They walked downstairs together. Tasha went first, taking her place at the altar beside Nathan's business partner, who was serving as best man. Then came Lily, walking slowly and carefully down the makeshift aisle, scattering rose petals from a basket. Finally it was Gabrielle's turn. She stepped into the garden alone, no one to give her away because she was giving herself freely to this new life. Every eye turned to her, but she only saw Nathan. His face transformed when he saw her. Pure love and wonder and gratitude washed over his expression. His eyes shone with unshed tears. Gabrielle walked toward him, her heart so full she thought it might burst. This was what a wedding was supposed to feel like. This certainty, this joy, this sense of coming home. When she reached him, Nathan took her hands. "You're breathtaking," he whispered. "You're not so bad yourself," she whispered back, making him smile. The ceremony was brief but heartfelt. The officiant, a judge who was Nathan's longtime friend, spoke about second chances and the courage it takes to love again after loss. "Nathan and Gabrielle have both known heartbreak," the judge said. "They've both experienced the pain of plans falling apart. But instead of letting that pain make them bitter or afraid, they chose to remain open to love. They chose each other. They chose to build something new and beautiful from the ashes of what came before." When it came time for vows, Nathan went first. "Gabrielle," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "For months ago I was existing but not living. I was going through the motions of raising my daughter while drowning in grief. Then you walked into my life at your lowest moment and somehow you saved us both. You brought laughter back to this house. You gave Lily a mother's love. You reminded me that life is still worth living fully. I promise to cherish you, to support you, to never take your love for granted. I promise to be the partner you deserve, the father Lily deserves, and the man Regina would be proud of. I love you, Gabrielle Washington, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life showing you how much." Gabrielle's turn came and she looked at Nathan through happy tears. "Nathan," she began, "I came to you broken, humiliated, with no plan for my future. You offered me kindness without judgment. You gave me a home and a purpose. But more than that, you showed me what real love looks like. It's not grand gestures or perfect moments. It's showing up every day. It's choosing each other again and again. It's building a life together based on honesty and respect and genuine partnership. I promise to love Lily as my own daughter. I promise to honor Regina's memory while creating new memories with you. I promise to be your partner in all things, through joy and sorrow, success and failure, all the days of our lives. I love you, Nathan Pierce, and I am so grateful that your daughter and I found each other at that altar 4 months ago." The judge pronounced them husband and wife, and Nathan kissed Gabrielle to enthusiastic applause. Lily jumped up and down, clapping and cheering. "That's my mom and dad," she announced to anyone who would listen. The reception was warm and joyful. Helen's food was exceptional. The small band Nathan had hired played soft music. People danced, laughed, toasted the happy couple. During the father-daughter dance, Nathan surprised everyone by inviting both Lily and Gabrielle onto the floor. "This is a family dance," he announced. "Because that's what we are now. A family." They swayed together, the three of them, as the band played a gentle waltz. Gabrielle looked at Nathan holding Lily, both of them smiling at her, and felt overwhelming gratitude. This was her family. This was her home. This was where she belonged. Later, Nathan's business partner gave a toast that brought everyone to tears. "I've known Nathan for 15 years, he said. "I watched him build his company from nothing. I watched him fall in love with Regina and become a father. I watched him nearly break when he lost her. And I've watched him these past few months, coming back to life because of Gabrielle. Some people might question this marriage, might say it happened too fast or under unusual circumstances. But I've never seen Nathan happier or more certain about anything. Gabrielle, you've given him and Lily something precious: hope. The belief that happiness is still possible, that love can bloom even in unexpected places. To the Pierce family, all three of you, may your life together be long and filled with joy." As evening approached and the party wound down, guests began to leave. Each one hugged Gabrielle and Nathan, offering congratulations and well wishes. Even Jennifer Chin, who'd shown up despite not being particularly friendly, managed to say something gracious. "You look happy," she admitted to Gabrielle. "I hope it lasts." "It will," Gabrielle said confidently. "Because we're going to work at it every single day." After the last guest left, the three of them collapsed on the couch in the living room, still in their wedding clothes. "That was the best day ever," Lily declared. "Can we do it again tomorrow?" "I think once is enough," Nathan said with a laugh. "But we can celebrate being a family every day." "Speaking of family," Gabrielle said, pulling out an envelope she tucked away. "I have something for you, Lily. Inside were official adoption papers. As soon as we file these, you'll legally be my daughter, Lily Regina Pierce. If that's okay with you." "You want to give me Regina's name?" Lily asked, awed. "Your first mommy was special and important," Gabrielle said. "I want you to carry her name, to remember her always. You're her daughter and mine. Both can be true." Lily threw her arms around Gabrielle. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too, sweetheart," Gabrielle replied, holding her tight. That night, after Lily was asleep, Nathan and Gabrielle stood in what was now their shared bedroom. The blue suite had been converted into a home office, and Gabrielle had moved her things into Nathan's room. "Mrs. Pierce," Nathan said, pulling her close. "How does it feel?" "Perfect," Gabrielle said honestly. "Absolutely perfect." "No regrets about the small wedding?" Nathan asked. "No wishes for something bigger?" "None," Gabrielle assured him. "This was exactly what I needed. What we needed. Intimate, meaningful, focused on what matters." "You matter," Nathan said seriously. "You and Lily, you're everything to me." "We're everything to each other," Gabrielle corrected. "That's what makes this work. It's not one-sided. We're partners, equals, building something together." They stood at the window, looking out at the garden where they'd just gotten married. The lights were still twinkling, the chairs still arranged in neat rows. "4 months ago," Gabrielle said softly, "I was standing at a different altar, waiting for a man who never showed up. I thought my life was over. I thought I'd hit rock bottom with no way back up." "And now?" Nathan asked. "Now I know that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best chapters," Gabrielle said. "Derek not showing up was the best thing that could have happened to me. It led me here, to you and Lily, to this family, to this life. I wouldn't change a single thing." "Not even the humiliation?" Nathan asked gently. "Not even that," Gabrielle confirmed. "Because it taught me what I really wanted. Not a wedding or a ring or some fantasy of what marriage should be. But genuine partnership with someone who sees me, values me, loves me for exactly who I am." "I do love you," Nathan said. "So much that sometimes it scares me. After losing Regina, I never thought I'd feel this deeply again." "You're allowed to love again," Gabrielle reminded him. "Regina would want that for you. She'd want Lily to have a mother. She'd want you to be happy." I am happy, Nathan said. Happier than I've been in years. You did that, Gabrielle. You brought joy back into our lives. We did it together, Gabrielle said. All three of us. We chose to be a family and we made it happen. They stayed at the window long into the night talking about the future. Where they'd travel as a family. How they'd handle Lily's growing up. Whether they might want more children eventually. Small, important conversations that built the foundation of their life together. And as midnight approached, Gabrielle realized that this was what love looked like. Not fireworks or grand romance, but quiet conversations and shared dreams and the comfortable certainty that you'd chosen the right person to walk through life beside. She'd been rejected at the altar 4 months ago. But in truth she'd been saved. Saved from a marriage that would have been wrong, saved from a man who didn't value her, saved for something better. For Nathan. For Lily. For this family that had formed from pain and healing and unexpected love. Tomorrow they'd start their official life together as husband and wife, as mother and father to Lily. But tonight was just for them, for savoring this perfect moment when everything had finally fallen into place. Thank you, Gabrielle whispered to Nathan. For what? For staying that day at the church. For offering me a chance. For seeing something in me worth believing in. Thank you, Nathan replied, for accepting. For taking a risk on us. For loving my daughter like your own. For being brave enough to try again after being hurt. They kissed, sealing these promises, these thanks, these vows of the heart that meant even more than the official ones they'd spoken earlier. And somewhere in heaven, Gabrielle liked to think that Regina was smiling, glad that her family had found love again, glad that her daughter had a mother, glad that Nathan had someone to share his life with. Because love didn't diminish with sharing. It multiplied. And the Pierce family, now complete with Gabrielle as its newest member, had more than enough to go around. 6 months after the wedding, the Pierce household had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Gabrielle had officially adopted Lily, the paperwork finalized in April. Lily now carried both of her mother's names. Lily Regina Pierce, daughter of Regina and Gabrielle, loved beyond measure by both. The little girl had blossomed under Gabrielle's care. She was more confident at school, had made several close friends, and had developed a passion for art that rivaled her mother's. Every afternoon you could find her in Regina's studio, now renamed the Art Room, painting alongside Gabrielle or on her own. Nathan had scaled back his work travel, determined to be more present for his family. He'd promoted his second-in-command to handle most of the trips, only going himself when absolutely necessary. His business was thriving, but it was no longer his primary focus. His family was. One Saturday morning in late August, Gabrielle woke to find Nathan already up, standing at the bedroom window with his coffee. "What are you thinking about?" she asked, joining him. "Just how much life has changed," Nathan replied, wrapping an arm around her. "A year ago I was going through the motions. Today I woke up excited about spending the day with my wife and daughter. It's remarkable." "It is pretty amazing," Gabrielle agreed. "Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life." "Our life," Nathan corrected. "And it's only getting better." Lily burst into the room, already dressed and bouncing with energy. "Can we go to the zoo today? Please? I want to show Mom the new penguin exhibit." "Absolutely," Nathan said. "Let your mom get dressed and we'll have breakfast, then head out." As they prepared for their outing, Gabrielle reflected on how natural everything felt. Morning chaos with Lily, easy coordination with Nathan, Helen teasing them about being too lovey-dovey. This was family life, messy and beautiful and exactly what she'd always wanted without knowing it. At the zoo they spent hours wandering from exhibit to exhibit. Lily had grown 3 inches since the last visit and had opinions about everything. She lectured them on penguin behavior, informed them which animals were endangered, and made them promise to donate to the conservation fund. "She's just like Regina," Nathan said quietly to Gabrielle while Lily examined the elephant habitat. "Same passion for things she cares about, same determination to make the world better." "She's like you too," Gabrielle pointed out. "That organizational thing she does with her art supplies? Pure Nathan." "And she's got your kindness," Nathan added. "The way she's always concerned about other kids at school, always wanting to include everyone. That's all you." They were interrupted by Lily running back. "Can I get a stuffed penguin? To add to my collection." "You already have 17 stuffed animals," Nathan protested weakly. 18 wouldn't hurt," Gabrielle said, winking at Lily. Nathan groaned. "You two are ganging up on me. This is what I get for letting women outnumber me in this family." "You love it," Gabrielle teased. "I really do," Nathan admitted, pulling them both into a hug. Later, at the picnic area, while Lily played on the nearby playground, Nathan brought up something he'd been thinking about. "I want to start a foundation," he said, "in Regina's name. For art education in schools, particularly for kids who wouldn't otherwise have access." "That's a beautiful idea," Gabrielle said. "And I want you to help run it," Nathan continued. "You have a natural understanding of what kids need. Your perspective would be invaluable." "Me?" Gabrielle was surprised. "I don't have any experience with nonprofits." "You have experience caring about people," Nathan said. "That's more important. We can hire people who know the technical stuff. But the vision, the heart of it, that should come from family. From someone who understands what Regina would have wanted." Gabrielle considered this. "I'd like that. I'd like to be part of building something that helps kids. Lily could even be involved as she gets older, learn about giving back." "Exactly what I was thinking," Nathan said, pleased. That evening, after returning home and getting Lily to bed, Nathan led Gabrielle out to the art studio. He'd been mysterious about it all day, saying he had a surprise. Inside, Gabrielle gasped. The walls were now covered with a mixture of Regina's paintings and Lily's artwork, professionally framed and displayed. But there was also new work, Gabrielle's own paintings. Over the past few months, Lily had convinced Gabrielle to try painting. "You're always helping me," Lily had said. "But maybe you'd like it too." Gabrielle had been hesitant at first, feeling like she was intruding on Regina's space. But Nathan had encouraged her, and gradually she discovered she actually enjoyed it. "You framed them," Gabrielle said, walking along the walls. "Nathan, you didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did," Nathan said. "This space belongs to all three of you now. Regina's legacy, Lily's present, your future. It's all part of our family story." Gabrielle stopped at one painting in particular. Her first attempt, a simple landscape that was technically flawed but filled with emotion. Nathan had placed it between one of Regina's masterpieces and one of Lily's abstract pieces. "3 generations of Pierce women," Nathan said, coming up behind her. "All artists in your own way. All part of the family." "I'm not really," Gabrielle started. "You are," Nathan interrupted firmly. "You're a Pierce now, Gabrielle. Fully and completely. And your art deserves to be celebrated alongside Regina's and Lily's." Tears pricked Gabrielle's eyes. "How did I get so lucky?" "We're the lucky ones," Nathan corrected. "You could have walked away that day at the church. You could have rejected my offer. You could have kept walls up around your heart. But you didn't. You took a chance on us, and it changed everything." As they stood in the studio, surrounded by art and memories and love, Gabrielle thought about her journey. From the humiliation of being left at the altar to the joy of finding her true family. From thinking her life was over to discovering it was just beginning. "I want to tell you something," Nathan said, turning her to face him. "When Regina died, I thought that part of my life was over. The part where I was a husband, where I had a partner. I thought I'd just be a father from then on, focused entirely on Lily. And that would have been enough. But then you came along and reminded me that I could be both. That Lily could have a mother. That I could have love again. You didn't replace Regina. You created something new. Something equally beautiful but entirely your own." "I love you," Gabrielle said simply. "I love you and Lily more than I ever thought possible. You're my family. My home." "And you're ours," Nathan replied. "Always." They walked back to the house hand in hand. Upstairs, Gabrielle peeked into Lily's room. The little girl was fast asleep, surrounded by her stuffed animals, including the new penguin from today's zoo trip. On her nightstand was a photo they'd taken at the wedding. Nathan, Gabrielle, and Lily, all smiling at the camera, clearly a family. Gabrielle straightened the covers and kissed Lily's forehead softly. "Sweet dreams, baby girl," she whispered. In their own bedroom, as they got ready for bed, Nathan brought up another topic. "I've been thinking about something else," he said. "And I want to know how you feel about it." "What's that?" "Would you want to have another child?" Nathan asked carefully. "I know Lily is already your daughter in every way that matters. But I thought maybe we could expand our family. If you wanted." Gabrielle's heart leaped. She had thought about it, had wondered if Nathan would be open to more children, but hadn't wanted to push. "I'd love that," she said honestly. "I'd love to give Lily a sibling, to experience pregnancy and motherhood in that way too. If you're sure." "I'm sure," Nathan said. "I want to build a future with you, Gabrielle. Not just maintain what we have, but grow it, expand it, create new memories and new love." "Then yes," Gabrielle said. "Let's do it. Let's have a baby." They talked late into the night about possibilities. Names they liked. How they'd tell Lily. How they'd handle the logistics. It was all theoretical still, might not happen right away, but the fact that they were planning it together filled Gabrielle with joy. The next morning they told Lily over breakfast. How would you feel about having a little brother or sister? Nathan asked. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? A real baby? Maybe, Gabrielle said. We're going to try. But it might take time. I'll be the best big sister ever, Lily declared. I'll teach them to paint and read them stories and protect them from bullies at school. They'd be lucky to have you, Nathan said, ruffling her hair. As summer turned to fall, life continued in its happy rhythm. The foundation was officially established, with Gabrielle taking on an active role in planning and outreach. Lily started second grade, more confident and social than ever. Nathan continued to find better work-life balance, present for school events and family dinners. And in October, Gabrielle got the news. She was pregnant. The three of them celebrated with cake and silly dancing in the living room. Lily insisted on talking to Gabrielle's stomach, telling the baby all about their family. You're going to love it here, she said seriously. We have the best dad and mom makes the best pancakes and there's a whole room full of art supplies. Plus Helen makes amazing cookies. Nathan and Gabrielle watched their daughter with tears in their eyes. This was their family, about to get bigger, about to add another chapter to their story. Have you thought about what you want to name the baby? Nathan asked later that night. If it's a girl, Gabrielle said slowly, I'd like to call her Hope. Hope Regina Pierce. Because that's what this family is built on. Hope. The hope that things can get better. That love can bloom again. That broken people can heal. And if it's a boy? Nathan asked. I was thinking maybe Grant, Gabrielle said. It means great or tall. And I want our son to stand tall, to be great in his own way. Hope or Grant? Nathan said, testing the names. Both perfect. 6 months later, in a hospital room surrounded by family, Gabrielle gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Hope Regina Pierce came into the world at dawn, crying lustily, her tiny fists waving. Lily was allowed in to meet her sister, and the look on her face was pure wonder. She's so small, Lily whispered, gently touching Hope's tiny hand. I promise to take care of you, little sister. I promise. Nathan held both his daughters, tears streaming down his face. She's perfect. You're all perfect. Helen had brought food and flowers. Marcus had sent a massive teddy bear. Even some of Nathan's business associates had sent congratulatory messages. But the most touching moment came when Tasha arrived with a gift. A photo album of Gabrielle's journey from the failed wedding to now, documenting every step of how she'd built this beautiful life. I wanted you to remember, Tasha said, that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best ones. That woman standing at the altar, devastated and alone, she became this woman. Loved, valued, surrounded by family. Never forget how far you've come. Gabrielle hugged her friend tightly. Thank you. For everything. For believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself. Later, when everyone had left and it was just the four of them, Nathan spoke quietly. A year and a half ago, I was at a wedding for people I didn't know, there only because my daughter insisted we stay. If someone had told me then that I'd meet my future wife that day, that I'd fall in love again, that I'd expand my family, I would have thought they were crazy. But here we are. 4 of us now. A complete family. Not complete, Gabrielle corrected, looking at her 2 daughters and her husband. Growing. Always growing and changing and becoming more. That's what families do. Lily climbed onto the hospital bed carefully, snuggling against Gabrielle's side while Nathan held baby Hope. They sat like that for a long time, just being together, being a family. And Gabrielle thought about that day at the altar, when she'd stood alone in her wedding dress, certain her life was over. She'd been wrong. Her life hadn't ended that day. It had just been redirected towards something better than she could have imagined. She'd thought no one wanted her. But that little girl whisper had changed everything. Can you be my mommy forever? And Gabrielle had said yes. To Lily, to Nathan, to this family, to this life. She'd chosen love over fear, hope over despair, possibility over pain. And in return she'd received everything she'd ever really wanted. A family that loved her, a partner who valued her, children who needed her, and the knowledge that happy endings weren't just in fairy tales. Sometimes they happened in real life, to real people who'd been broken and brave enough to try again. Sometimes rejection at one altar led to acceptance at another. Sometimes the universe conspired to give you exactly what you needed, even when it looked nothing like what you thought you wanted. And sometimes, just sometimes, A little girl's whispered question could change absolutely everything. Forever? Lily asked again now, watching her baby sister sleep. Forever, Gabrielle promised, kissing her forehead. I'm here forever. All of us together forever. And this time, it was a promise she knew she could keep. The end. 3 trending hashtags. Hashtag second chance romance, hashtag heartfelt love story, hashtag family first stories. Title: Bride thought no one wanted her, until a little girl whispered, "Can you be my mommy forever?" Description: When Gabrielle is left standing alone at the altar, her world crumbles in front of everyone she knows. But in her darkest moment, a wealthy widower and his daughter stay behind, witnessing her pain when everyone else walks away. What starts as an unexpected job offer becomes a journey of healing, hope, and unexpected love as Gabrielle discovers that sometimes the worst rejections lead to the most beautiful beginnings. Watch this emotional story of a broken bride who finds her true family in the most surprising way, proving that love can bloom even in the aftermath of heartbreak.